We are back with more Lord of the Mysteries novel. We are at chapter 7. This one is called Codenames. So I read the first 6 chapters last time. We are in the grey fog. And what really surprised me was the how descriptive the novel is, right? So we were talking about like 3 chapters about his wound in the head, but in the donghua it like healed in like 1 second. So I love that. It's very immersive. So let's start reading. Okay. You can address me as the fool. The simple answer soon made it through the grand hall and dissipated into the fog. However, the voice kept resonating in Audrey's and Olger's hearts, stirring up one ripple after another. They never expected such a designation, but they felt that he was deserving of it. The designation perfectly embodied his image as someone mysterious, powerful, and bizarre. Damn. After a few moments of silence, Audrey stood up, held up her skirt slightly, and bent her knees, curtsying to Shaw. Honorable Mr. Fool, would you please permit me to take the liberty of requesting you to be the witness of our trade? It's nothing, Shaw mind weird as he answered in a way that matched his status. It's our honor, Mr. Fool. Alger stood up as well. He bent his back slightly with his right palm over his chest. Oh, like this? Like this? Shaw lowered his right palm and smiled. Continue, the both of you. Olger nodded and sat back down before looking at Audrey. If you can obtain the ghost shark blood, get someone to send it to the Warrior and Sea Bar at Pelican Street, in the White Rose borough of Brits Harbor. So that place, another city we get mentioned. Tell the boss Williams that it's what the captain wants. Wait, he's the captain? If someone in the Brits Harbor says captain, they mean Olger? We did have a shippy with Olger being like employer of like many people, right? Where Warrior and Sea Bar? Is it Backland or a different city? Brits Harbor. Okay. Once I acknowledge receipt, will you be giving me address to the mail, the potion formula, or do you want me to tell it to you here directly? Imagine, send it to the whole estate. Captain of a ship. Olger has aura. Audrey thought for a moment before saying with a smile, I will choose the more secure method. Let's do it here, although it's a test of my memory. You can write it down, maybe? Since Mr. Food had agreed to bear witness to the trade, it also represented that there will be a similar gathering the next time. Next Monday, right? With this in mind, she suddenly turned her head as she looked at Shaw with sparkling eyes. With a tone of interest, she suggested, Mr. Fool, would you mind making a few more attempts like this? Olger listened to her suggestion calmly. He was tempted by the suggestion as well. He hurriedly echoed, Mr. Fool, don't you find such gatherings interesting? Although your powers exceed our imaginations, there has to be certain domains that you don't understand or excel in. Wow! Olger is basically giving the Shaw assist here. The person across me is obviously a young lady of lofty stature. I also have my unique set of experiences, insights, mediums, and resources. Perhaps there will come a day where both of us can help you complete something trivial that might be inconvenient for you. This is good for Shaw because now Shaw doesn't feel like he can't ask, you know what I mean? Olger is like, oh, ask. There are some things you don't know. The Holy Glazer. Yeah. There has to be certain domains that you don't understand or excel in. That's a crazy thing because the fool now can ask whatever he wants and Olger won't be suspicious, right? From his point of view, the fact that he had been pulled into space without any warning or any means to resist meant that the mysterious Mr. Fool was in control. Participating in the gatherings was not necessarily something he could refuse. Therefore, it was better to reap the benefits of this encounter as much as he could to make up for his passive and disadvantaged state. Yeah. The trio at the long table had different backgrounds, resources, information channels, and comprehension of the mystical domain. If they interacted and showed some limited cooperation, they could produce unpredictable and immeasurable effects. The resource rate that had just been negotiated was one example. Another example would be if he wished to kill someone, he could easily request the gathering members who did not appear to be related to him both on the surface and in reality for help. He could perfectly misdirect any investigators. Yeah. A young lady of lofty stature. Was my behavior and accent that obvious? Audrey stared blankly, mouth slightly agape, but she soon jolted back to her senses and nodded her head without any hesitation. So, when you are a lady with lofty stature, that means you're like a lady who is a noble, right? Or like really rich. Mr. Fool. Mr. Fool, I think it's a very good suggestion as long as this gathering becomes regular. You can totally leave certain things that are inconvenient for you to us. Of course, it has to be something within our capacities. From the moment he heard the suggestion, Shaw was already weighing the pros and cons. More gatherings definitely allowed him to gain more knowledge of the secrets of the Beyonders or other mysteries, a boon for his transmigration back. For example, it was likely that the potion formula would appear at the next gathering because of spectators. Sorry. Similarly, the information he gained was bound to be helpful for his present life. Okay. However, more gatherings meant it was easier to expose himself. Indeed, regardless of the world, there is no such thing as a free lunch. Shaw extended his right hand again as he rapped the side of the long table with his finger gently. Rapped. Crazy word. Anyway, considering the fact that he was in control of the gathering summoning and dismissal, any threat to exposure was within the confines of his control. The pros clearly exceeded the cons, so Shaw rapidly made a decision. I keep hearing it. What? Klein always thinking of terms of money? He stopped his rapping as his... Wait, you don't see it, but... What? Where am I? Wait, I'm sorry. I resized the screen so guys can see better and I lost. What the fuck? Wait, this is gonna take so long. Okay, let's read from here. From the moment he heard the succession, Shaw was already weighing its pros and cons. More gatherings definitely allowed him to gain more knowledge of the secrets of the Beyonders or other mysteries, a boon for his transmigration back. For example, it was likely that the potion formula would appear at the next gathering because of spectators. Similarly, the information he gained was bound to be helpful for his present life. However, more gatherings meant it was easier to expose himself. Indeed, regardless of the world, there is no such thing as free lunch. Shaw extended his right hand again and he rapped the side of the long table with his finger gently. Wait. Okay, we are back now, I think. Considering the fact that he was in control of the gathering summoning and dismissal, any threat of exposure was within the confines of his control. True, the pros clearly exceeded the cons, so Shaw rapidly made a decision. He stopped his rapping as he smiled at the anticipative and perturbed cases of the duo. I'm a person who likes a fair and equal exchange. Your help will not go unrewarded. Every Monday at 3 in the afternoon, try your best to be alone. After I make a few more attempts and figure out certain things, perhaps you can apply for a leave of absence at of time. You will no longer need to worry about being in appropriate situations. This was a form of agreement to Alger's and Audrey's suggestions. Audrey had just turned 17. Oh, just turned 17, okay. Having been taken care of her entire life. Ooh, this is what I wanted. I wanted like more info about Audrey and Olger and seeing their stories as well. So here we go. Audrey had just turned 17, having been taken care of her entire life. She had been character of a young girl. She had the character of a young girl, therefore she could not help but clench her fist and gradually bump it in front of her chest when she heard the fool's reply. Like this? Like, yes! Like, yes! Every week! Like that? Without waiting for Olga to say a word, Audrey said in excitement, her eyes glowing. Then, shall we give ourselves code names? After all, we can't use our real names for conversation. Although I might not be able to deceive Mr. Fool regarding my true identity, the person opposite of me poses some danger. I must not let him know who I am. Good idea, answered Shaw, in a simple and relaxed manner. Audrey's mind immediately began whirring as she aired her thoughts as they came to her. You are Mr. Fool, which is derived from the tarot cards. Then, as a fixed, long-term and secretive gathering, we should be uniform in our designations. Yes, I also choose one from the tarot cards. Her tone slowly turned joyous. I've decided. My designation shall be Justice. It was one of the 22... Oh, what the one of the 22 major arcana tarot cards. I think, and you're gonna see it in my dub video, that tarot clubs have a big connection to pathways. The Fool has a connection to the Seer pathway. There has to be a connection, right? So does Justice have a connection to the Spectator pathway? And does the Hanged Man have a connection to the Sailor pathway? I guess we're gonna slowly find out. What about you? What about you, mister? Audrey cheekily smiled at her partner sitting across her. Olga frowned slightly before relaxing it immediately. The Hanged Man. There's another major arcana card. Alright. Alright, then we can be considered as the founding members of the Tarot Club. Audrey was the first to blurt it out happily, only to look fearfully at the fog-concealed Shaw. Will that be alright, Mr. Fool? Shaw shook his head in amusement. You can decide on such trivial matters by yourselves. Thank you. Audrey was clearly thrilled. Following that, she looked at Olga. Mr. Hanged Man, can you repeat the address again once more? I'm afraid that my memories will fail me. No problem. Olga was very pleased with Audrey's seriousness as she repeated the address once more. After repeating it to herself silently twice, Audrey said it again in excitement. I heard that tarot cards were invented by Emperor Cell. As a game, in fact, doesn't it come equipped with the power of to divine the future? What the hell? No, most of the time divination stems from oneself. Everyone has something... No, most of the time divination stems from oneself. Everyone has something spiritual about themselves, allowing them to attune to the spiritual world and connect to information about themselves at an even higher level. However, ordinary folks are unable to notice this, much less be able to interpret the signs they receive. This information will present itself with the help of divination tools. Let me raise a simple example. Dreams and dream interpreters. Okay. Olga took a glance at Shaw, and seeing no response from him, he refuted Audrey's claim. Tarot cards are in fact such a tool. It uses more symbolism and more logical elements to help us in conveniently and accurately interpreting the signs. Missed a little bit, by the way. Oh, you? Oh, I thought I missed a little bit. Although Shaw appeared indifferent, he was actually listening very carefully. It was only at this point that his empty mind slowly became heavy as his head began to feel a throbbing pain. Got it, Audrey nodded in agreement. Following that, she emphasized. That's not what I meant. I'm not doubting the tarot cards, but I heard that Emperor Zell had actually created another set of the cards. Secret and mysterious ones. Yeah, they were mentioned once before, earlier in the chapters. They were paper cards which symbolized a particular unknown power. There were a total of 22 cards that he completed. Later on in life, he referenced them to create the 22 major arcana tarot cards, which are used as a gaming tool. Was what I said correct? She looked at Shaw as though she was attempting to get an answer from this mysterious Mr. Fool. All Shaw did was smile without saying a word, because Shaw doesn't know. He cast his gaze at the Hanged Man, as though he was putting him to the test. That's funny. Olger subsequently straightened his back and said in a deep voice, "That's right. It is said that Emperor Cell had seen the blasphemy slate, and that the set of paper cards contained the profound mysteries of the 22 paths of the divine." Exactly, yeah. 22 paths of the divine, repeated Audrey with a longing tone. About giving him a German Italian accent. I'm not giving anyone a German Italian accent. I'm sorry. That's funny though. At that moment, Shaw's headache intensified. He felt that his invisible connection with the crimson stars and grayish white fog was beginning to falter. Okay, so I think this is the point where Dunn is coming, right? Alright, that will be all for today's gathering, he said in a deep voice after making that decision immediately. By your will, Olger bowed his head respectfully. By your will, Audrey mimicked the hanged man. She still had many questions and thoughts, thus she was unwilling to have it end so soon. As Shaw severed the connection, he said with a smile, "Let us look forward to the next gathering." The stars brightened once more as the crimson light receded like water. Just like Audrey and Olger heard Mr. Fool's words, their figures turned to blur as they faced away. In a second, the projection shattered as the grey fog restored its silence. As for Shaw, he felt himself turning heavy rapidly. His surroundings turned fleeting as his eyes met darkness, before changing into dazzling sunlight. He was still standing in the middle of his apartment. Now, if I remember correctly, in the donghua from Ani News video, that in this point, Done game. But I think in the novel it was different, right? So we're gonna find out now. I forgot like how it exactly went, but we'll see. Am I lagging, by the way? It's showing that I'm lagging. How do I fix this? Novel is different. No lag. Okay. It was like a dream. What the hell was that foggy world? Or that sort of power created the changes that just happened? Shaw sighed softly. He was completely puzzled as he walked towards the study desk as though his legs were filled with lead. He picked up the pocket watch he placed outside to determine how much time he had passed. Time flowed at the same pace. Oh. Shaw made a rough judgment. After putting down his pocket watch, he found himself unable to endure the splitting headache any further. He sat on the chair and lowered his head, using left thumb as middle finger to massage his temples. So this is already like taking toll on Shaw, or Klein, rather. After a long while, he suddenly let out a sigh and said in Mandarin, "From the looks of it, I won't be able to return anytime soon." Oh, buddy, I don't think he will ever return, honestly. Only the clueless could be fearless after witnessing such a fascinating event, learning situation regarding Beyonders and the mysterious world. Shaw no longer dared to rashly try the luck enchantment ritual using ancient Fesak or Loan language. Who knew what other kind of situations would happen? Perhaps it will be more bizarre, horrifying, or even living hell. At the very least, I should attempt only when I have deep mastery of mysticism, thought Shaw helplessly. Trusting Klein he will return? I really hope so, man. I really hope so. As a non-beyonder, using supernatural power will be bad. Yeah, I'm guessing maybe when he takes the zero potion, he is gonna like feel less headachy. You know what I mean? I don't think this headache was shown in the donghua. He did have a headache at the end of the first meeting, but I thought that was because of Don Smith coming and like using nightmare on him or something like that. But that was actually later, so yeah, I mean, I guess the donghua did show it. Thankfully, the so-called gathering could provide him with help. After another bout of silence, he muttered to himself with a tone of dismay, disappointment, agony, and grief. From this moment forth, I'm Klein. Klein tried. Oh wow, that's cool. Oh, Klein tried his best to. Oh my god. Now the novel says Klein. It was saying Shaw the entire time. It was shown. Okay. So yeah, him feeling a headache wasn't because of Dunn. It was because he took a lot of toll on him. Klein tried his best to refocus his solutions and plans so as to purge the negative emotions in him. Perhaps he could learn the potion formula for spectator from the side. Oh, he had a plan to do that. Oh, wow. The gathering that just happened sure is fascinating. People who reside in different places across the world can reduce hundreds of kilometers to just mere inches and discuss face to face while supplying each other's needs. Huh. Speaking of which, this this does sound a little familiar. Klein was stunned for a few seconds before he burst out in laughter. Pressing against his temple, he chested under his breath. Wasn't that a social networking platform? Basically. True, actually. Wow, never thought about that. The world's first virtual reality chat. Basically, yeah. It's like a big Discord group call, you know? The Grey Fog is actually Discord. But they only can meet once a week. That's funny. Facebook, for real, for real. Wow. I spilled my drink, guys. I'm super professional. Anyway, the first Grey Fog meeting is over. It was very similar to the one in donghua, but one thing I noticed, a lot more inner monologue for Shaw. Also, a lot more inner monologue for Audrey and Olger as well, right? We actually like heard their thoughts. I like that. In the donghua, it went by super fast. Now, I am excited for more Grey Fog meetings because, like I said last time, the donghua like glanced over them really quickly, and people on my Discord server were talking about how Grey Fog meetings were so good in the novel, and other people as well. I think Ellen Historian talked about it as well, so I'm so excited for it. So let's jump into chapter 8 right now. The fool made you wet? Yeah. How do you know? Let's go with chapter 8 now. A new era. Whoosh, howling wind accompanied downpour. Oh, it's raining. Oh, Olger? The three-mast sailboat was tossed around by the crests, and jaws of the incoming waves, as if it was being toyed by a giant. That's crazy. The crimson glow in Olger Wilson's eyes faded. He found himself still remaining on the deck, and nothing appeared to have changed. Almost immediately, the Kirky-shaped glass bottle in his palm shattered, and the frost within melted into the rain. Oh, so for Audrey, it was the mirror that shattered, right? But for Olga, it was the glass bottle? Okay, interesting. In seconds, there were no longer any traces left that suggested the existence of the wondrous antique. Oh my god. Hexagon crystal-like snowflake emerged on Olga's palm. It then faded rapidly until it was seemingly absorbed by the flesh, vanishing completely in the process. Olger nodded his head in a hardly noticeable manner, as if he was thinking about something. He remained still and silent for a full 5 minutes. Olger's point of view, let's fucking go. This is all new, by the way. This is all new. He turned around and headed for the cabin. He was about to enter. A man who wore a similar robe embroidered with lightning patterns emerged from inside. Interesting. This man who had soft blonde hair paused and looked at Olger. He held his right fist to his chest and said, "May the storm be with you." Olger replied with the same words and gesture. There were no emotions on his rough face, which had well-defined structure. Olger kinda mocking for real. But this blonde person, we saw a blonde person in the chibi as well, but that person I thought was really short. But here it says, a man who wore a similar robe. Maybe it's just some crewmate of his. Olger entered the cabin after the greeting and proceeded to the captain's cabin, situated at the far end of the corridor. Surprisingly, he did not encounter any sailors on the way. The whole place was as quiet as a graveyard. Because it's nighttime, maybe? Not going beyond volume 1 anymore? Why? I am gonna go beyond volume 1. Behind the door to the captain's cabin, a soft brown carpet overlaid the door. A bookshelf and wine rack took the opposite side walls of the room. The books with their yellowish covers and wine bottles with their dark red color looked peculiar under the flickering candlelight. The robe increased the height. Is it actually him then, from the chibi? I thought it was a kid, but it said a man. On the desk with the candle, there was a bottle of ink, a quill. Oh no, quill! Fuck. A black metallic telescope and an sextant. Oh, sextant is the one that you can tell coordinates with, right? Made of brass. Behind the desk had a pale middle-aged man wearing a captain's hat which had a skull on it. Like a pirate? Holy shit. As Alger approached him, he said menacingly, I will not give in. I believe you can do it, Alger said calmly. What's going on? So calm that it felt like he was commenting on the feather. You. The man seemed to be stunned by the unexpected answer. At this very moment, Alger leaned forward slightly and suddenly dashed across the room until they were only separated by the desk. Alger tightened his shoulder and reached out his right hand to choke the man. Illusory fish scales appeared on the back of his hand as he crazily mustered more strength to choke the man, giving him no time to respond. Crack! Amid the crisp cracking sound, the man's eyes widened as his body was lifted up. His legs twitched furiously before the... Oh my god, Olger killed him! Holy shit! And the crisp cracking sound, the man's eyes widened as his body was lifted up. His legs twitched furiously before they soon became motionless. His pupils began to widen as he stared aimlessly. There was a stench from between his legs as his pants gradually turned... moist. He pissed himself. Oh wait, that's little bit too detailed, guys. That's a little bit more detailed. So he killed this ship's captain? Illusory fish scales appear in the back of his hand, as in because of his sequence 9 sailor. That's crazy. The details are crazy. That happens when people die. You shit yourself? Oh, I did not know that. Oh wow, I learned something new reading the London Mysteries novel. I told you last time, I think I will cane IQ reading this novel, by the way. Bang! He used the man as a shield and smashed forward at the wall. Extremely muscular arm was monstrous. A hole cracked open in a wooden wall and rain poured in, accompanied by the scent of the ocean. Alger flung the man out of the cabin straight into the giant waves that resembled mountains. The wind continued to howl in the dark as almighty nature devoured everything. So, was it his crew's captain? Did he just become a captain? Wait 1 second. I have a message I have to check. Maybe it's important. Okay, we're back. He took out white handkerchief and wiped his right hand carefully before throwing into the sea as well. He is a menace, dude. He sat back and waited patiently for company. In less than 10 seconds, the blonde man from before rushed in and asked, "What happened?" "The captain has escaped." Wow, he's lying. Alger answered in an annoyed manner as he panted, "I didn't know he still had some of his beyonder powers." "Damn it," the blonde man cursed softly. Softly. "Damn it," the blonde man cursed softly. He went up in the opening and stared into the distance. However, nothing was visible except for the waves and the rain. "Forget it, it was just extra loot," the blonde man said, waving his arm. "We will still be rewarded for finding this ghost ship from the Tudor era." Oh, okay. Even if he was a keeper at the sea, he would not have hastily timed the sea under the weather condition. "The captain will not be able to survive much longer if the storm continues," Alger said as he nodded in approval. The wooden wall was repairing itself at a discernible rate. Okay, interesting. Same blonde guy. I thought that was a kid. Oh my god, I thought that was a kid. Wow, okay, interesting. He gazed at the wall and turned his head subconsciously towards the rudder and the sail. He was perfectly aware of what was going on behind all the wooden planks. No shift mate, the second mate, the crew, and the sailors were not present. There was no living person on board. That's why it was cold. That's why it was like a graveyard. Oh, I thought it was everyone was sleeping, but there's actually nobody on board. Amidst all the emptiness, the rudder and the sail moved eerily by themselves. Olga again pictured the fool who was covered in greyish-white fog and sighed. He turned back and looked outside at the mighty waves and spoke as though in a reverie, while filled with anticipation and awe. A new era has begun. That's crazy. Okay, I see. People get boners when they die? I did not know that. What the fuck? Anyway, Olger just killed that ship's captain and lied about it to the blonde guy. Coast ship, yeah. Interesting. And the wall repaired itself? Everyone look a kid and chippy, true, but I guess he's short, right? Poor Olger has no friends. The blonde guy is his friend, kinda. Anyway, damn. Okay, this was missing from the donghua, right? And I am interested in more of Olger because what did we see from the donghua, from Audrey and Olger? The only thing we saw was them in the grey fog, and Audrey we saw a little bit in like her giving the potion to Susie an accident, and her with Susie, and also in the chippies. That's it, right? Yeah, you can send some screenshots from the manhwa to Discord. I'll look at it at the end of the stream. Okay, I think we're going to Audrey now. Empress Boro, Backland, capital of the Lowen Kingdom. Audrey Hall pinched her cheeks in disbelief of her encounter a while ago. She can't believe it. On the dressing table in front of her, the old bronze mirror had shattered into pieces. Audrey cast her gaze downwards and saw a swirling crimson on the back of her hand. It was like a tattoo depicting a star. The crimson gradually faded and disappeared into her skin. Oh, into her skin, okay. Only at that point in time was Audrey certain that it was not a dream. Her eyes twinkled as she grinned. She could not help but stand up before bending down to lift up her hem of her dress. She's so happy, dude. She curtsied towards thin air and stayed dancing lively. It was the ancient elf dance, the most popular dance among royalty at the moment. Ancient elf dance, okay. She had a bright smile on her face as she moved about gracefully. Someone suddenly knocked at the bedroom door. Who is it? Audrey immediately stopped her dance and asked as she tidied her dress to look more elegant. My lady, may I come in? You should start to prepare for the ceremony, Audrey's maidservant asked from outside the door. Audrey looked up in a mirror on the dressing table and quickly wiped the smile from her face, leaving only a tiny hint of a smile. She responded gently after she ensured everything was presentable. Come in. The doorknob turned and Annie, her maidservant, pushed in. Oh, it cracked. Annie said as she instantly saw the outcome of old bronze mirror. Audrey blinked and said slowly, yes, Susie was just here just now. I'm sure you know she likes to wreak havoc. Susie will get... What is this Susie slander? You can't blame Susie. Susie is not here to defend herself, dude. Susie is not here to defend herself. God damn it. Susie was a golden retriever. There was not much of a purebred. Interesting. It was a gift given to her father, Earl Hall. Wait, his father's name is Earl? When she bought a foxhound, nevertheless, Audrey adored it. You should train it well, Annie said, as she picked up the pieces of the bronze mirror adeptly and with care. Lest it hurt her mistress. As she was finished tidying it up, she asked Audrey with a smile, which dress do you want to put on? Audrey thought for a while and answered, I like the dress designed by Miss Kinney for my 17th birthday. No, you can't wear that same dress twice. On formal ceremony, or others will gossip about and question the whole family's financial ability. Damn, that's crazy. Is it a title? Oh, okay, it is a title. I see. Yeah, I was like, having a name called Earl is crazy because it's like calling yourself like king. It's a title. Okay. Um. Audrey thought, yeah. Annie said, thinking her head in disagreement. But I really like it, Audrey insisted on gently manner. You can wear it at home or when you attend an event that isn't so formal, Annie said, firmly, suggesting that it was not negotiable. Then I will have to be one with the frilly designs along the sleeves given by Mr. Sadie's 2 days ago, Audrey said as she drew in casts inconspicuously, maintaining her sweet smile. You always have a good taste, Annie said as she stepped back and shouted towards the door. The 6th dressing room! Ah, forget it, I shall fetch it myself. Maid servants began the work to dress, accessories, footwear, hat, makeup, and hairstyle. Everything had to be taken care of. When it was almost ready, Earl Hall appeared at the door wearing a dark brown waistcoat. He had a hat sharing the same color as his clothes and a nice mustache. His blue eyes were filled with joy, but his loosening muscles, widening waist, and wrinkles were obviously destroying this handsome youth. That's crazy. The most dazzling jewel of Backland is time for our departure, Erhal said, knocking on the door twice. Father, stop calling me that, Audrey protested as she got up with the help of the maidservants. Well then, it's time to set off, my beautiful little princess, Erhal said as he bent his left arm, signaling Audrey to hold his arm. Audrey shook her head slightly and said, This is for my mother, Mrs. Hall, the Countess. That's funny. Then this side, Earl bent his arm with a smile and said, This is for you, my greatest bride. The Imperial Naval Base. Okay, so we're going now back to Olger, sorry. The Imperial Naval Base, Prince Harbor, Oak Island. Oak Island! We're getting more world building that we're missing out on the donghua, right? I love world building. When Audrey took her father's arm and walked down the carriage, she was suddenly shocked by the juggernaut in front of her. Oh, we are still with Audrey. In the military port not far away, there was a huge ship shimmering with metallic reflections in it. Reflections. It did not have a sail, leaving only an observatory deck, 2 towering chimneys and 2 turrets at the ends of the ship. So it's like a... So it's not a wooden ship then? Ironclad ship. Oh, trailer. Okay. It was so majestic and large, the fleet of sails nearby were like the newborn dwarfs clustering around the giant. Holy Lord of Storms. Oh my lord. Ironclad warship. And Mr. Furor. Audrey was also shocked by this unprecedented miracle created by mankind. It was an ocean miracle that had never been seen before. Is it like a steamship with like goal? Juggernaut means big iron thing, if I remember correctly. Ah, I see. Can't wait to see in the donghua. It took a while for the aristocrats, ministers, and members of parliament to compose themselves. Then a black spot on the sky started to grow in size until it occupied a third of the sky and entered everyone's view. The atmosphere suddenly became solemn. It was a gigantic flying machine with a beautiful streamlined design hovering in mid-air. What the fuck? Like a balloon? Is it like a blimp? You know what I mean? Like a flying ship? The deep blue machine had airbags, yeah, made of cotton, which were supposed to be alloy structures that were strong but light. The alloy structure bottom had openings mounted with the machine guns, projectile launchers, and muzzles. The accelerated humming noise from the ignition steam engine and the tail blades produced a symphony that left everyone amazed. I wonder if in the future we're gonna see a war between nations, because right now we have a lot of like this thing is militarized. And if you do see a war between nations, are Beyonders gonna take part of that? Like the airships from AOT? I see, okay. Yeah, that's a really good image in my head now, right? The king's family arrived on their airship, exuding a lofty and indisputable authority. Two swords, each with a ruby crown and the handle, were pointing vertically down and reflected the sunlight on both sides of the cabin. They were the Sword of Judgment emblem, which symbolized the Augustus family and had been passed down from the previous epoch. Interesting. The king's family arrived on the airship. Interesting. Audrey was not yet 18, so she had not attended the introductory ceremony, which was an event led by the Queen that marked one's debut into the background social scene. To announce her adult status, therefore, she could not be near to the airship and had remained silent at the back to watch the entire event. By the way, the world building is so much bigger in the novel. I mean, of course. Nevertheless, it did not matter to her. In fact, she was relieved that she did not need to deal with the princess. The miracle that mankind used to conquer the sky touched down gently. The first one that stepped down the stairs were the handsome young guards who wore red ceremonial uniforms with white trousers. Decorated with medals, they formed two lines with rifles in hand. They were awaiting the appearance of King George III, his queen, and the prince and princess. Audrey was not new to meeting important people, so she showed no interest at all. Instead, she had her attention on the two statue-like black armored cavalry flanking the king. Okay. In this era of iron, steam, and cannons, it was surprisingly that there was still someone who would wearing full armor. It's more ceremonial, that's why, right? I think them wearing these clothes, I think, is more ceremonial. The gold metallic luster and the tall black helmet conveyed solemnity and authority. Could they be the higher order disciplinary paladins? Audrey recalled snippets of a casual conversation among adults. She was curious but did not dare to go close. The ceremony commented with the arrival of the king's family. The incumbent prime minister, Lord Aukessid Negan, went up to the front. What does incumbent mean? Incumbent meaning. Time to learn, guys. The incumbent of the current holder of the office or position. Oh, I see. Okay. I see. This is what it means. It's the current holder of an office or position. Where was I? He was a member of Conservative Party, the second non-aristocrat to become the prime minister. Ironic. Conservative Party, but also a non-aristocrat to become the prime minister. Usually conservatives don't let non-aristocrats to become leaders and people of power, right? Till this very day, he was given the title of a lord for his great contributions. I see. The second prime minister be non-aristocrat. Okay. Of course, Audrey knew more. The main supporter of the Conservative Party was the present Duke of Negan, Pallas Negan, who was the brother of Aukessid. Oh my god. Okay. Interesting. I see. I see. I see. These are all important names. Yeah, I'm going through the names again to remember them. Aukessid Negan went up to the front. Okay. Aukessid was a slender man, almost bald. Bald, 50-plus-year-old man with a sharp gaze. He surveyed the area before speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe you have witnessed this history-making ironclad warship. It had dimensions of 100 by 21 meters. It has amazing port and starboard design. The armor belt is 457 millimeters thick. The displacement is 10,060 tons. There are 4 305mm main cannons, 6 rapid-fire cannons, 12 6-pound cannons, 18 6-barrel machine guns, and 4 torpedo launchers. It can reach speeds of 16 knots. It will be the real hegemon. It will conquer the seas. The crowd was roused. The more descriptions were enough to instill fearful images in them, let alone the fact that the actual thing was right in front of them. Just like a sign of power, by the way. Yeah, Artba, I will. I will. I will revive my notes for the volume. Aquisite smiled and spoke a few more lines before saluting the king and requested Your Majesty, please give it a name. Since it will set sail from Brits Harbor, it will be named the Brits. George Tree responded. His expression showed his delight. The Brits! The Brits! So, first time seeing George the Third speak, by the way. He was never shown in donghua unless on the coin, right? Only on the coin we have seen him before. The word spread from the Navy Minister and the Admiral of the Imperial Navy to all the soldiers and officers on the deck. They all exclaimed in unison, "The Brits!" George III ordered the Brits to set sail for a trial in the midst of the gun salutes and the celebratory atmosphere. Honk! Thick smoke spewed out from the chimneys. The sound from the machinery could be heard faintly beneath the sound of the ship horn. The juggernaut departed from the harbor. Everyone was shocked when the two main cannons at the ship bow fired at an uninhabited island in its path. Boom! 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 The ground shook as dust shot up in the sky. Shock waves spread out, producing waves in the sea. So they are basically putting up a show right now. Satisfied, Aukesi turned back to the crowd and announced, From this day on, doomsday will fall on the 7 pirates who call themselves admirals and the 4 who call themselves kings. They can only shiver in fear." So apparently there's a big ass pirate era going on. We saw that from the special trailer as well, right? So one of their names was like very Chinese sounding. I forgot. Something Jin maybe? Jin something. I forgot though, but one of the admirals is that. It's end of their era, only the ironclad warships will roam the seas no matter whether... Oh, Quilangos. My bad. Or Chilangos. Not Chin. Oh, Chilangos. Yeah, that guy. It's one of the 7 admirals. It's in the end of the era, only the ironclad warships will roam the seas no matter whether the pirates have the powers of the Beyonders, ghost ships, or cursed ships. Oh, ghost ships mentioned again. One Piece reference? Let's fucking go. August Chief Secretary deliberately asked, can't they build their own ironclad warships? Kilangos, okay. Imagine pirates building ironclad, by the way. Some of the nobles and members of parliament nodded, feeling that such possibility could not be eliminated. August immediately smiled and shook his head slowly as he answered, Impossible! It will never be possible. Building our ironclad warship required 3 big coal and steel amalgamators, a scale a lot more than 20 steel factories, 60 scientists, and senior engineers from the Background Cannon Academy, and Brits National Academy, 2 royal shipyards, almost 100 factories for spare parts, an admiralty, a shipbuilding committee, a cabinet, a determined king with excellent foresight, a great country with an annual steel production of 12 million tons. The pirates will never achieve it. Okay, damn. Okay, I kind of feel like they might now. That guy was glazing. 60 scientists, senior engineers, 12 million tons. Okay. Having said that, he paused and raised his arms before shouting in adulation. Ladies and gentlemen, the era of cannons and warships has dawned upon us. Wow, okay. Looks like a lot of things are happening, especially in military. As in, we are getting the industrial revolution for military. That ironclad sounds menacing, by the way. I'm just saying. The Notebook. Also, I was so happy to see Audrey and Olger, and I'm so happy to see so much more world building. This entire chapter, by the way, was new to me. I haven't seen any of this in donghua. Only thing we have seen is from the special episode trailer, some things. Let me change the thing. Number 9. I love this chapter. Something completely new for me. Okay, yeah. We met Audrey's dad as well. I mean, we saw them in the special episode trailer, but Olger also killed a captain of a ghost ship and lied about it. Interesting developments, right? Are there where are the mods? I don't know. Are there spoilers in chat? I'll try to ignore chat then. Um, username should be online, but I don't know about others. The Notebook, chapter 9. After half an hour of rest, Sean, who now viewed himself as Klein, finally recovered. In the meantime, he found that there were now 4 black dots on the back of his hand. Yeah, here. That means he doesn't need food anymore, right? Finally recovered. In the meantime, he found that there were now 4 black dots, yeah, which happened to form a small square. These 4 black dots faded and disappeared quickly, but Klein knew that they were still hiding in his body, waiting to be awakened. 4 spots forming a square. Is it correspondent with the 4 pieces of staple food at the 4 corners of the room? Oh my god, he figured it out so fucking fast. Oh my god. Does this mean that in the future I don't need to prepare the food and do the ritual and chance immediately? Klein made a guess. This might seem good, but the emergence of the spots was ominous, and things that one lacked understanding of were always scary. Yeah, true. The fact that those inexplicable Chinese divinations from Earth could produce effects here. I know, right? It was from the Chan and Han Dynasty book or something like that? The strange transmigration in his sleep, the mysterious murmurings that almost drove him crazy during the ritual, and the mysterious and trippy grey fog whose significance he had no idea of made Klein shiver in the hot weather of June. The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest fear is the fear of the unknown. Damn! He recalled this saying as he was experimenting the fear of the unknown acutely. There was in him an unprecedented and irresistible urge to make contact with the mysterious domain, to learn more and to explore the unknown. There was also a contradicting escape mentality within him, compelling him to pretend nothing had happened. Intense sunlight shone through the window onto the desk, making it appear as if grains of gold were sprinkled on it. Klein gazed at the desk, feeling as though he had come into contact with warmth and hope. He relaxed slightly, and a strong sense of fatigue washed over him. His eyelids were as heavy as lead as they kept closing themselves. It must have been the combined effect of the sleepless night and a tiring encounter. Klein shook his head and pushed himself up with the aid of the desk. He stumbled towards the double-decked bed, completely disregarding the rye bread placed at the 4 corners of the room. He fell asleep immediately after he lay down. Groan. Klein had woken up in hunger pangs. Where he opened his eyes, he felt rejuvenated. There is still a slight headache. He rubbed his temples and sat up. He was so hungry that he couldn't eat a horse. Damn. I could not read at the end there, dude. This community is really small. Everyone knows everyone. Oh, do you mean all the mysteries community? He was so hungry that he could eat a horse. He returned to the desk while straightening his shirt. He picked up the silver wine leaf pocket watch. Pa! The pocket watch lid sprang open and the second half was ticking. 12:30. I slept for 3 hours. Klein put the pocket watch back into his linen shirt pocket while swallowing. In the northern continent, where 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour, and 6 seconds in a minute, whether each second passed at the same rate here compared to Earth was unknown to Klein. Can he just look at the clock and see if it's the same speed? At this moment, he could not even think of terms such as mysticism, rituals, or the greyish world. His mind was occupied by one thing: food. He could leave thinking after his meals. Only then he could work. Klein picked up the loaves of rye bread on the 4 corners and wiped off the minute specks of dust on it. Without any hesitation, he planned on making one of them his lunch. He decided to dig into the offerings because he only had 5 pence with him, and there was a tradition of eating the offerings back in his hometown. Oh, really? After all, there was not any observable change to the bread. It was better to be frugal. Imagine he eats it and he's like, gets powers from it. We know that's not gonna happen, but of course the memory and habits left behind by the original Klein had also played a role. It was a huge waste of it was huge waste to use the expensive gas only to light up the room, so Klein took out a furnace and boiled water with it. After adding some coal he placed around as he waited. Damn, he is frugal. He is really frugal. Anyone will choke eating those loaves of rye bread without water. Oh, they'll try. Yikes, life with meat only for dinner is going to be dreadful. I mean, usually like peasants back in the day ate meat once a week or something. No, wait, it's already on an exception. Militia would only allow our meals to have meat twice a week. Damn, I just said. If not for my upcoming interview, Klein thought as he looked around. Hungry. He had nothing better to do. His eyes seemed to turn various when he set his eyes on the pound of mutton in the cupboard. No, I need to wait for Melissa to eat it together. Klein thought as she shook his head and rejected the idea of cooking half of it right now. Yeah, good. This he has discipline. That's good. Although he often ate outside, he had developed some basic culinary skills, owing to his living in a big city alone. His dishes were not delicious, but they were at least edible. Klein turned his body around so that the mutton could not seduce him. Then he suddenly realized that he had also bought peas and potatoes in the morning. Potatoes, Klein immediately had an idea. He quickly turned back to the cupboard and took out 2 potatoes from a tiny pile of them. He then cleaned the potatoes in the public bathroom and then added into a pot so they would were boiled together with the water. After a while, he sprinkled into the water some yellow coarse salt from the spices container he found inside the cupboard. Potatoes are so underrated, by the way. He walked patiently for a few minutes before lifting the pot and pouring the soup into a few cups and a bowl. He took out the potatoes with a fork and placed them on the desk at the end. Oh, sorry. He blew at the potato as he peeled it bit by bit. The fragrance of boiled potato diffused through the air. It smelled very appetizing. This is so descriptive, bro. Am I reading a recipe book right now, dude? I'm getting hungry. I love potatoes. They're so versatile. He salivatated crazily. The heat could not deter him any longer. Klein took a bite despite having the potato only half peeled. Wait, do you guys peel potatoes or eat it with the skin? I eat potatoes with the skin. Am I weird? Or do you guys peel potatoes? Should try making this after the stream. Both? Leave skin. Good. Paste. Leave the skin on. Because the skin has fiber. Peel, of course? Damn. Okay, dude. Anyway. How fragrant. Had a powdery texture and tasted sweet as he chewed. He was instantly filled with emotion and he wolfed down the 2 potatoes. He even ate some of the skin. He even ate some of the skin like it's a bad thing. Oh my god. I guess cuttlefish don't really like eating potatoes with skin, right? Biased. Yeah, when I smash potatoes, I also peel it. Then he held up the bowl and enjoyed the soup. The pinch of salt in water proved to be thirst-quenching. I really enjoyed eating potatoes this way when I was young. A filled Klein exclaimed in his head. Meanwhile, he tore off a small piece of bread and dipped it into the soup to soften it before eating. Yeah, because rye bread is really, really dry. Perhaps the ritual was too tiring. Klein ate 2 loaves of bread, which amounted to a whole pound. Wow! Half a kilo of bread, basically. Klein felt he was finally rejuvenated. He enjoyed the joy of life after he drank the soup before tidying up. Then he took in the lustrous sunshine happily. She sat back at the desk and began planning. I can't escape. I must think of a way to come into contact with mysticism and become a beyonder as mentioned by Justice and the Hanged Man. And to overcome the fear of the unknown. The only way now is to wait for the next gathering. I need to see if I can learn the formula of the spectator potion or other things related to mysticism. There are 4 more days before Monday. Before that, I need to first figure out the problem with Klein. Why did he commit suicide? What happened to him? Unable to transmigrate back. He committed suicide because of the quill, and the Grey Folk saved him because of transmigration. We know that, right? Unable to transmigrate it back and wash his hands of everything, Klein picked up the notebook that lay on the table. He wanted to find hints that could help him regain his lost memory fragments. The original Klein obviously had the habit of taking notes. He also liked to write diaries. Klein was fully aware that the cabinet that supported the desk on the right had stored a whole stack of completed notebooks. That's good. Heavenly, oh my god, Heavenly Envoy, my favorite viewer, by the way. My Heavenly Envoy is here. Let's fucking go. He's our bet. He's so cute, man. He's the best, like, hate watcher of all time, dude. There are 4 more days, yeah. Toshin and Klein obviously... Okay, Klein was fully aware that the cabinet that supported the desk on the right stored the whole stack of printed notebooks. The notebook he had begun on the 10th of May matters regarding his school and the mentor. Mentor as in Asik, as well as content portraying to knowledge were at the beginning. 12th May, Mr. Asik mentioned that the common language used by Palam Empire in the southern continent also developed from ancient Faisak, a branch of Jotun. Why is this so? Does this mean that every sentient living being once spoke the same language? No, there has to be a mistake. According to Revelation of Evernight, and the Book of Storm, giants were not the only hegemons of the world in primordial times. There were also elves, mutants, and dragons. Anyways, these are just myths and fantasies. Yeah, surely. Anyways, they're just myths and fantasies. We saw these notes from Any News, by the way. But let's go over them. Of course, we're going to read it again, right? We're not going to skip anything. 16th May, Senior Associate Professor Cohen and Mr. Asik discussed the inevitability of the Age of Steam. Mr. Asik opined that it was just a coincidence because if it wasn't for Emperor Zell, the Northern Continent wouldn't still be wielding swords like the Southern Continent. Mentor argued that Mr. Asik had placed too much emphasis on the contribution of individual. He believes that with progress, even if there wasn't an Emperor Zell, there would be Emperor Robert. Therefore, the Age of Steam might come late, but eventually come nevertheless. I found a little meaning in their discussion and prefer discovering new things and unveiling the hidden past. Perhaps more suited to study archaeology than history. I mean, Cohen is right, as in there will be in the future, but that will be really distant future because Rosell made everything, as in like he made the process faster, right? Right? Because of him, we have these things. If there was a Emperor Robert, then it will take another like 500,000 years. 29th of May, Welch found me and told me that he had acquired a notebook from the 4th epoch. Oh my goodness, a notebook from the 4th epoch. He didn't want to ask the archaeology department students for help, so he came to Naya and me to help him decode the contents. How can I refuse? Of course, so I can only do it after my graduation defense. I can't afford diverting my attention at this stage. This caught Klein's attention. Compared to the notes about history and viewpoint disagreements, the appearance of a notebook from the 4th epoch might have led to Klein's suicide. The 4th epoch was the epoch before the present Iron Age. Its history was mysterious and incomplete. It was like 1300 years ago, right? Due to the fact that the very few tombs, ancient cities, and records has been found, archaeologists and historians could only refer to their ambiguous records provided by the 7 major churches that center around their religious teachings. To roughly form the original picture, they knew existence of Solomon Empire, the Tudor dynasty, and the true Soest Empire. Okay. Having set the sights on solving the mystery and restoring history, Klein didn't have much interest in the first 3 eras, whose roots were closer to legends. He was more interested in the 4th epoch, also known as the Age of the Gods. Damn. So Klein was concerned for his future career and thus focused on the interviews, but it was all futile. Klein could not resist exclaiming. Universities were still very scarce, and the majority of students were either from noble or wealthy families. As long as he did not have any extreme mindset, a commoner who had been admitted in university would have been able to build precious social connections through group discussions and networking events, despite the prejudice and exclusion from the entrenched social circles. Yeah, true. The very generous Welch McGovern was an example. He was the son of a banker from Constant City. So Welch, the Lion's friend who also killed himself. Meadshire, Law and Kingdom, he was used to asking Naya and Klein for help because they were always in the same group of work. Without thinking further, Klein continued reading the notebook. 18th of June, I have graduated Farfel University. 19th June, I have seen a notebook by comparing sentence structures and root words. I discovered that it's modified form of ancient Vesak. More precisely, over the course of its 1,000-year history, the Vesak language had changed constantly, a little at a time. Kind of like English, how we had like Old English, then like Shakespearean English, then early modern English, right? "20th of June, we have deciphered the contents of the first page. The author was a member of the family called Anticonus. 21st of June, he mentioned the Black Emperor. This was anachronistic with regards to the time. This notebook is used to be written. Is Professor wrong? Is Black Emperor a common title for every emperor of the Solomon Empire? Anachronistic with anachronistic. What does that mean? Long in the appropriate period or than. Okay. Anachronistic means belonging to an appropriate period other than the being portrayed. Anticunas. Yeah. 22nd of June, the Anticonus family had a very high standing in the Solomon Empire. The author mentions that he was making a secret transaction with a person named Tudor. Tudor, is it related to the Tudor dynasty? It has to be, right? 23rd of June, I am trying to restrain myself from thinking about the notebook and going to Welch's place. I had to prepare for the interview, it's very important. Wonder when the other family is gonna be named that had relations with Anticonus, you know what I mean? 24th June, Naya tells me that they found something new. I think I can check it out. 25th of June, from the new deciphered content, the author had accepted a mission to visit the nation of Evernight, situated at the summit of the highest peak of the Hornachis mountain range. Oh my goodness, how can a nation exist at the summit of the peak, which is 6,000 meters above the sea level? How do they survive? I mean, right now, the ruins that Klein keeps seeing is also the nation of Evernight, but it's now been destroyed, right? And it's like civilians disappeared. I feel like the civilians disappearing, that's gonna come later in the novel, I think. The donghua it was when he was talking to Asik. But I think the civilians disappearing is them maybe so they can be like someone in the future or something. I don't know. We'll see though. So maybe a black Yaris, but he was a good black Yaris. What's a plagiary? Oh my god. I'm dumb. I will tell you basically no one said Hornachis like donghua did before donghua came out. Completely different how I imagined. Oh. The record of ended at this point. Show transmigrated in the early hours in 28th. Okay, so the last letter was. Wait, the last note was, are these strange things real? What does this mean? A civilization 6 kilometers above the sea level is so cool, the view should be awesome. Yeah, true. Also, how can you breathe? Isn't the air pressure a lot like worse there? Like it's like living on top of Everest. Gosh, Everest sounds similar, right? Hornachis. White Walker are usually bottom. Top or bottom, guys? The record ended at this point, show transmigrated in the early hour of 28th, which means to say that there was indeed an entry for June 27th in that it's that line. Oh, everyone will die, including me. Klein flipped to the page he first saw when he arrived, feeling goosebumps while he made the deduction. In order to solve the mystery of the original Klein's suicide, he thought that he should visit Welch and take a look at the ancient notebook. However, with a lot of experience from novels, movies, and TV drama series, he suspected that if they were really related, this visit would be very dangerous. Those who went investigating Castle, despite knowing that they were haunted, served as a warning. However, he had to go since escaping would never solve the problem. It would only make things worse until it welled over and completely drowned him. Perhaps call the police. But claiming to have committed suicide would be silly, right? There was a series of quick and forceful knocks. Klein sat straight up and listened. The knocks echoed through the empty hallway. Leonard? Or Tan? Or both? Let's find out. I mean, we got the notes. We saw them in Ani News before. I'm kind of regretting watching Ani News, right? I kind of wanted to experience them for the first time here, but let's go over them quickly. Like, one of the last things that Klein wrote is, are those strange things real, right? So there's something they figured out more, but Klein didn't put it into his notebook. And here at 27th, it says, everyone will die, including me. That's like, I think, work from Ince. But what was written in the Anticonus notebook, though? They deciphered more that wasn't written in his diary. Right? So, I guess we're gonna find it out. Also, a mention of Tudor and Juno Socest Empire, Solomon Empire, we know about those. And Anticonus Empire as well. Not Anticonus family, not empire, sorry. And Anticonus family as well. So the fourth epoch was 1300 years ago, right? I'm not cooking anything, I'm going through like notes. Okay, Ozik mentioned as well, talked about how Roselle, you know, even if Roselle didn't exist, there will still be progress in the future. Trun Soest. What if the quill writes in the Antigonus notebook? Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I don't think it does. I thought maybe Antigonus notebook was written with the quill, right? I said that in the theory video. But I think the quill, the 008 has been around for a very long time, right? It's a relic. It's artifact, not relic, sorry, artifact. So maybe the quill wrote Anticonus notebook. Anyway, chapter 10. Let's change up the music. I liked Lies of P, so I'm gonna put that. Lies of P OST. Anticonus notebook is for Thebok notebook, yes. But the artifact of 008 might have been around during the 4th epoch. Clown Man also, by the way, nice name. It's too epic. Okay. Chapter 10. No French, please. Okay, this is too epic. Wait 1 second. Try guessing the sequence 7 of Seer Pathway. What did I say last time? Wizard? I think I said wizard. The norm. If the music is too loud or too high, let me know, okay? Okay, there are some screenshots later as well. Who is it? Klein was thinking about the mysterious suicide of the original owner of this body and the unknown danger he might encounter when he heard a sudden knock on the door. He subconsciously opened the drawer, took out the revolver and asked vigilantly. The other party was quiet for 2 seconds before a slightly sharp voice in Ava's accent replied, "It's me, Mountbatten, bitch. Bitch, Mountbatten? Bitch, Mountbatten? It is me, Mountbatten. Bitch, Mountbatten." The voice was for a moment providing the police. Bitch, Mountbatten. When goofy name. When Klein heard this name, immediately thought of the owner of this name. He was a policeman in charge of the street where the apartment was located. He was a rude, brutal, hands-on man, but perhaps only such a man could be deterred for alcoholic thieves, part-time thieves, villains, or hooligans. New character, by the way. Put Twitch in emoji only mode. I thought Constantine was on Twitch. Sure. Oh, there's 5 viewers on Twitch anyway. I didn't. Oh, there's 5 viewers on Twitch anyway. Okay. And his unique voice was one of his trademarks. "Okay, I'll be right there," Klein responded loudly. He had planned to put the roller back in the drawer, but thinking that he had no idea why the police were outside and what they might search the room or do other things, he cautiously ran to the stove where the flames had already been extinguished and put the revolver in it. Then he picked up the cold basket, shook a few pieces into the stove, covered the gun, and finally placed the kettle over the stove to conceal everything. After doing all of that, he tidied up his clothes and quickly approached the door and murmured, "Sorry, I just had a nap." Outside the door stood the 4 policemen in black and white checkered uniforms with beak caps. Bitch Mountbatten, the one with the brown beard, coughed and said to Klein, "These 3 inspectors have something to ask you." Inspectors Klein looked at the shoulder patches of the other 3 reflectively and found that 2 of them had 3 silver hexagons, and one had 2 of which looked superior to Bitch Mountbatten, who had only 3 chevrons. As a history student, Klein did little no research into the ranks of police epaulettes, except that Birch Mountbatten often boasted of being a senior sergeant. So these 3 are inspectors. Are those Leonard and Tan Smith, maybe? These are 3 army inspectors. Influenced by conversations with Benson, Welch, and his classmates, Klein had common sense to make a way and point into the room. "Please come in. How am I to help you?" The leader of the 3 inspectors, a middle-aged man with sharp eyes. He seemed to be able to read the mind of a person and make them fearful. His eyes were wrinkled, and the edge of his hat revealed light brown hair. He looked around the room and asked in deep voice, "Do you know Welch McGovern? What's wrong with him?" Klein quivered and blurted back, "I'm the one asking the question." The dignified middle-aged police inspector had stern look in his eyes. The inspector next to him, also wearing 3 silver hexagons, looked at Klein and smiled gently. "Don't be nervous. It's a routine questioning." Is that Leonard? Is that Leonard? Should I give him a zesty ass accent? Don't be nervous. It's just routine questioning. This policeman was in his 30s. Never mind. Don Smith is in his 30s, right? The policeman was in his 30s with a straight nose and grey eyes like a lake in an ancient forest. Oh, that no one visited gave him a indescribable sense of depth. Is that done, maybe? Klein took a breath and organized his words. If you mean Welch McCovern, the graduate of University from Constant, then I'm sure I know him. We are classmates with the same mentor, Senior Associate Professor Quentin Cohen. In the Loan Kingdom, professor was not only a professional title but also a position, just like the combination of professors and department deans on Earth. That meant there could only be one professor in a university department, and if an associate professor wanted to become a professor, they had to wait for their superior to retire. Oh, I see. Or force out their superior with their abilities. I see. They started the conversation differently. Ah, I see. Wait, what? As Talon seemed to retain the Kingdom's Higher Education Commission had added senior associate professors in the three-level system of lecturers, associate professors, and professors after years of opposition. This title was given to anyone with higher academic achievements or with enough seniority but did not make it to the position of professor. At this point, Klein looked in the eyes of a middle-aged police inspector and thought for a second. To be honest, our relationship was quite good. During this period, I met him and Naya frequently to interrupt and discuss the Fourth Epoch notebook that belonged to him. Inspectors did something happen to him? Instead of answering, the middle-aged police inspector looked sideways and his grey-eyed colleague. The inspector with the big cap and ordinary looks replied mildly, "I'm sorry, Mr. Wells has passed away." What? Despite having some hunches, Klein could not help but shout out in astonishment. Welch died just like the original owner of this body. This is a little scary. What about Naya? Klein questioned hurriedly. Oh, this is genuine. I was gonna say, oh, he's acting. He knows that Welch died, but no. He's finding out that Welch and Naya died. Ah, I see. I see. Miss Naya passed away too, the grey-eyed police inspector said quite calmly. Both of them died in Mr. Welch's house. Killed? Kind of vague guess. Perhaps it was suicide. The grey-eyed inspector shook his head. No, the scene suggested they committed suicide. Mr. Welch hit the wall with his head many times, covering the wall with blood. Miss Naya drowned herself in passin. Yes, the kind used to wash your face. The quill. The way they kill themselves is literally so brutal, by the way. Like, nobody kills themselves by hitting their head against the wall willingly, right? They were possessed by the quill. That's impossible. Klein's hair stood up on their ends as seemed capable of imagining the strange scene. A girl kneeling on a chair and burying her face in the passion-filled water, her soft brown hair swaying in the wind, but her entire person remaining motionless. Welch falling to the ground and staring at the ceiling intently, his forehead in a complete blood-mangled mess, while traces of the impact on the wall were evident with streaks of blood. Really, it was censored. Damn. The grey-eyed inspector continued, "We believe so too, but the autopsy result and the situation at the scene excludes factors such as drugs, external forces. There being Mr. Welch and Miss Naya showed no signs of struggling." Before Klein could speak again, he stepped into the room and asked, pretending to be casual, "When was the last time you saw Mr. Welch or Mrs. Naya?" As he spoke, he gestured with his eyes to his colleagues with two silver hexagons. He was a young police inspector and looked out to the same age as Klein. With black sideburns and clean pupils, he was good-looking and had a poet's romantic department. That's Leonard, right? Yep, I'm mod again. I will be mod here too if Andrew read chat. It all ignored when we talked about becoming a mod. I'm not ignoring you. I just don't read really big text walls because I wanna keep reading, you know. I think if username is active, I don't think there's need for another mod, right? Anyway, is that Leonard? Does Leonard have sideburns? Leonard has green eyes. I know that. When he heard the question, Klein thought about it, answered in a thoughtfully. It should be June 26th. We were reading a new chapter in the notes. Then I went home to prepare for my interview. On June 30th, the interview was for the history department of Dingen's University. Dingen was known as the city of universities. There were two universities, Dingen and Koi, as well as technical schools, law college and business college. It was second only to Paklan, the capital. I see, okay. All YouTubers ignore me, I'm sorry, man. I'm not gonna ignore you again, Nightwalker. As soon as he finished, he saw the young police inspector walk towards his desk in the corner of his eye and pick up the notes which resembled more of diary. Damn, I forgot to hide it. Hey, Klein cried out. The young inspector smiled back at him, but did not stop flipping through the notes while the grey-eyed inspector explained. This is a necessary procedure. To the grey-eyed inspector is done. Green-eyed inspector is Leonard. At this time, Pitch and the digital middle-aged, dignified middle-aged police inspectors were just watching without interrupting or assisting in the search. Where are your search warrants? Klein had intended to question them, but on second thought, the judicial system of the Lion Kingdom did not seem to have such a thing as search warrants. At least he did not know if there was one. After the police force had only been established for 15 or 16 years, when the original owner of this body was still a child, they were still called pubic security officers. Public! Not pubic, public. Sorry. Klein couldn't stop it. He watched the young inspector flip through his notes, but the grey-eyed inspector did not ask any questions. What is this strange thing? The young police investigator turned to the end of the notes and suddenly asked, and what does this mean? Everyone will die, including me. Isn't it common sense that everyone dies except for deities? Klein was prepared to quibble, but it suddenly occurred to him that he had planned to connect with the police in case of possible danger, but he had no reason for excuses. He made that decision in less than a second. Putting his hand over his forehead, he answered painfully, I have no idea. I really have no idea. When I woke up this morning, I felt I wasn't quite right, as if I had forgotten something. It's especially true for whatever happened recently. I don't even know why I had written such a sentence. Damn. I love how Klein is, being honest here. Sometimes being frank was the best way to solve a problem. Of course, it required skills. There were things that could be said and could not be said, and the order of what was said first mattered. As an expert keyboard warrior, Klein was also good at sophistry. This is ridiculous. Do you think we are fools? Bitch could not help but interject angrily. This is such a bad lie that it insults the intelligence of his and his college. There was no bitch in the donghua, by the way. But he is here, right? It's better for you to pretend to be mentally ill than to be to pretend to be amnesiac. And speaking the truth, Glenn responded frankly, looking into the eye of Mountbatten and middle-aged police inspectors. It really could not be more true. Maybe it is, the grey-eyed police inspector said slowly. What, he really believed it? Klein was surprised himself. I mean, that's the truth, right? The grey-eyed student smiled at him and said, an expert will come in 2 days, and believe me, she will be able to help you to recall your lost memories. Oh, Daily. By the way, in the dub, they pronounce Dali's name Daily. Is that correct? Do you pronounce Dali Daily? Help me remember my memories in the field of psychology. Klein frowned. Hey, what if these memories of Earth were exposed? He suddenly felt like facepalming himself. The young police inspector put down his notes and searched his desk and room. Fortunately, he focused on books instead of lifting the kettle. It's Dali? I know, right? Why would the dub say daily? But both is correct. Skill issue. I pronounce it Dali. Yeah, me too. I think that's better. I'm gonna keep pronouncing it Dali. Daily looks more natural. Ooh, I don't know about that. I think maybe. Depends on the person, I guess. Well, Mr. Klein, thank you for your cooperation. What was that sound? In the song? We advise that you better not leave Tingen for the coming days. If you have to, please notify Inspector Mountbatten or you'll become a fugitive, the grey-eyed police inspector warned. That's it, that's it for today. No other questions with deeper investigations or taking me back to the police station, torture me for information. Klein was at a loss. Nevertheless, he wanted to solve the odd turn of events brought about by Welch. So he nodded. That won't be an issue. The inspectors exited the room one by one, and the young man at the end suddenly patted Klein on the shoulder. Very nice, very lucky. What client's face was puzzled? Oh, it's very nice, very lucky. What client's face was puzzled? The green-eyed police inspector with a poet's temperament smiled and said, generally speaking, the norm is for all the involved parties to die in such an event. We are very glad and fortunate to see you all still alive. After that, he exited the room and closed the door behind him politely. The norm is for everyone to die together. Very glad that I'm still alive. Fortunate that I am still alive. Yeah, I mean, happens. It happens. These things happen in this world, Klein. On this June afternoon, Klein was chilling all over. Damn. We saw the first integration, basically. Police came to Klein's house, his apartment. And there was another character, a sergeant called Bitch. That wasn't a donghua. So, interesting. I like how the novel is more descriptive and there are like more characters as well. What's corruption? Why is Nightfalker spreading corruption? Anyway, so I do know that the events that happen in donghua are different from the novel, and that's partly because of Onion News. Did they have a warrant? This world works differently. Maybe there's no such thing as warrants, right? So I'm still saying this. I don't know what you guys think, but I kinda regret watching Onion News. I do. So hopefully I will forget some things from Onion News, so we can have like complete blind reaction on the novel, right? I think like later on in the novel, because Onion News stopped doing episode per episode cut content, we are going to be more blind on it. And novel 2, of course, sorry, not novel 2, volume 2, we're gonna be completely blind, right? Anyway, chapter 11. Also, Leonard introduction, done introduction. Leonard has little sideburns. Dude, I yap so much that I stop slurring, man. As in, like, I stop slurring my words. Let's go next. Chapter 11. Real culinary skills. Is this the infamous chapter where it was a whole chapter for cooking or something? One second, guys. Stop slurring my words, yeah. But I can say slurs. Coincidence, 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 coincidence. That's a slur, right? How fast I'm reading those chapters? Like 30 minutes per chapter. Remember, we started with chapter 7 today. So I'm actually reading really slowly. People said one chapter takes 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm taking 20 to 30 because I yap so much. Anyway. Real culinary skills. Much are reading today? A few more. I don't know yet. The norm is for everyone to die together. Very glad that I'm still alive. Further fortunate that I am still alive. Lion shivered and quickly ran to the door, trying to catch up with the policeman and ask for protection. Oh, smart! As soon as they reached the handle, he suddenly stopped. The officer talked so horribly about it. Why didn't they protect me? An important witness or key lead. Isn't that too careless? Are they just probing me? Or maybe it's bait? All things thoughts rushed into Klein's mind. He suspected that the police were still secretly watching him, observing his reaction. He felt much calmer after thinking of this and was no longer so panicked. He slowly opened the door, deliberately shouting with a trembling voice to the staircase. You guys will protect me, right? There was no response from the police officers, and there was no change in the rhythm of the contact between the leather shoes and the wooden stairs. Oh wow, okay. Stowe is good because season gap is huge. Yeah, I think like reading like 20 to 30 chapters per week is okay, right? Also, if I spend like 20 minutes per chapter, is that okay? Like 20 or 30 minutes per chapter, do you guys like that? I think you guys like me yapping, right? I know you'll do that. Klein shouted again in tone of feigned conviction, trying to act like normal person that was in danger. The sound of footsteps gradually weakened and disappeared into the bottom floor of the apartment. Klein snorted and laughed. Isn't that response too fake? The acting skills are not up to standard. He did not run after them. Instead, he turned back to the room and closed the door behind him. Damn, Klein is like kind of losing his mind a little bit. In the next few hours, Klein fully expressed what they called back in Foodaholic Empire. Foodaholic Empire. Just for thoughts, nice. China, restlessness, nervousness, agitation, inadvertence, and murmuring. Words that he did not understand. He did not slack just because there was no one around. Foodaholic. Interesting. China. I see. This is called the self-cultivation of an actor. He laughed at himself in his heart. Yeah, I mean, also, I think Lord of Mystery is kind of like a cultivation novel, right? It's not really like the cultivation in a very like true sense cultivation, but inspired by cultivation, because you level up through the sequences, right? When the sun moved to the west, the clouds on the horizon appeared to be reddish orange. Tenants in the apartment came home one after another. Klein shifted his focus elsewhere. Melissa is almost done with school. He looked at the stove, lifted the kettle, peeled off the coal, and took out the revolver. Without pause or delay, he reached to the back of the board under the double-decked bed, where more than 10 wooden strips were staggered out. Cooking chapter, let's go. Technically cultivation, just not practically. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Cooking! Nightwalker, you're saying it's not cultivation? Why? Well, Lord of Mystery is kinda like cultivation. I'm not saying it is cultivation, I'm saying it's kinda like cultivation. After clipping the left wheel between a piece of wooden strip and board, Klein straightened up and waited uneasily, fearing that the police would burst open the door and rush into the room with guns in their hands. It was an age of steam. He was certain he would not be seen by anyone when he did that. However, there were extraordinary powers here, one that he had proven through his own experience. After waiting for a few moments, there was no movement at the door. There was only the chatter between two tenants who were heading for the heart of the wild bar on the Iron Cross Street. Phew! Klein exhaled, feeling assured. All he needed to do was wait for a malicious return and cook the stewed mutton with tender peas. When the idea came to Klein's mind, his mouth seemed to taste the rich flavor of the gravy. He remembered how Melissa cooked stewed mutton with tender peas. So, mutton is old sheep, right? Lamb is like more tender. I never ate sheep before. It's not really a thing in my country. Is mutton delicious? When the idea came to Klein's mind, his mouth seemed to taste the rich flavor of gravy. He remembered how Melissa cooked stewed mutton with tender peas. First, she boiled the water and stir-fried the meat. Then she added onions, salt, a little pepper, and water. After a specific period of time, the peas and potatoes were added, and the stew was cooked for an additional 40 or 50 minutes with the lid on. Slow cooked meat is the best, dude. It did a simple and crude way to do it, supported purely by the flavors of the meat itself. Klein shook his head. But there was no other way about it. It was hard for commoners to have many kinds of condiments and various cooking methods. They would only pursue simple, practical, and economical methods as long as the meat was not burnt or spoiled. Anything was good, for example, for people who would only eat meat once or twice a week. Klein wasn't very good cook himself and ordered takeout food most of the time, but by cooking 3 or 4 times a week, after many weeks of accumulated practice, he had passing standard and felt that he would not let the pound of mutton down. When Melissa comes back to cook it, it will be done after 7:30 p.m. She will be starving by then. It's time for her to see what real cooking is. Klein made an excuse for himself, Firstly, he started the fire again, went to the bathroom to collect water and wash the mutton. Then he took out... Wash the mutton? Do you guys wash meat? Who washes meat? And washed the mutton, then he took out the kitchen boards and knives before chopping the mutton into tiny chunks. As for explanation for his sudden culinary skills, he tried to blame it on the dead Welsh McGovern, who had not only hired a chef who was good at Midshire flavour, but also often created his own delicacies and invited people to try them. I don't, but in those times I would. I don't wash meat. I didn't know people washed meat. Seriously. Should I start washing my meat? Well, the dead cannot refute me. Nevertheless, this is a world with beyonders. The dead are not necessarily unable to speak. With that in mind, Klein felt a little guilty conscious. He drew aside his confused thoughts and put the meat into the soup bowl. Then he took out the condiment box and added in a spoonful of crude salt, half of which had begun yellowing. In addition, he gradually took some black pepper grains from a special small bottle, mixing and marinating them together. He placed the saucepan on the stove, and while waiting for it to heat up, Klein rummaged for the carrots from yesterday and cut them into pieces, with the onions he had bought today. When he was done with preparations, he took out a small can from the cupboard and opened it. There was not much lard left in it. Lard is pig fat, right? Klein took a spoonful, put in a pan and melted it. He added the carrots and onions and stirred it for a while. Klein took what? When I say wash your meat, I don't mean your dick. I'm okay, whatever. You guys know, right? Anyway, as a fragrance began to pervade, Klein poured all the mutton into the pot and fried it with care for a while. He should have added cooking wine in the process, or red wine at least. However, the Moretti family did not have any these luxuries and could only drink a glass of beer a week. Klein had to make do with whatever was available and poured in some boiled water. Lard in animal fat is in general. Oh, I thought it was pig fat. After stewing for about 20 minutes, he opened the lid, put some tender peas and cut potatoes in it, added a cup of hot water and 2 spoons of salt. Should we follow this recipe? Should I stream myself cooking this? I have to find some mutton. He closed the lid, lowered the fire, and exhaled satisfactorily, waiting for his sister to reach home. As seconds turned into minutes, the fragrance in the room intensified. There was the allure from the meat, the rich smell from potatoes, and the refreshing scent of onions. The smell casually mixed up, and Klein swallowed his saliva from time to time, keep track of the time with his pocket watch. Make a cooking stream? Maybe. Maybe I will. After more than 40 minutes, some of not so brisk but rhythmic footsteps approached. A key was inserted, the handle was turned, and the door opened. Before Melissa came in, she whispered doubtfully, "Smells good." Doubtfully? Melissa is doubtful about its being good. With her bag still in her hand, she stepped in and glanced over the stove. Potatoes taste bad? I might ban you, bro. Potatoes do not... Do you know how versatile potatoes are? You made this? Melissa took off her wheel hat, her hand paused mid-air, looking at Klein in astonishment. She twitched her nose and inhaled more of the fragrance. Her eyes quickly softened, and she seemed to find some confidence. You made this? She asked again. Are you afraid I'd waste the mutton? Klein smiled and returned with a question without waiting for an answer. He said it to himself. Don't worry, I specifically asked Welsh tradition to cook his dish. You know, he has a good cook. First time? Melissa's eyebrows creased subconsciously, but they were smoothed by the fragrance. Looks like I'm talented, Klein laughed. It's almost done, but put your books and wheel hat down somewhere. Go to the bathroom and wash your hands, and I'm ready for taste it. I'm very confident about it. Bro, it's not reading? Oh, it means it's hard to make potatoes taste bad. My bad. Do you know what I read? Let's show you. I read this. My brain only read this, by the way. I see. I Everyone will laugh at this with Nerd Night. I will. It looks like I'm talented. Yeah. When she heard her brother's orderly arrangements and saw his gentle and calm smile, Melissa stood rooted at the door and failed to respond to her days. Do you prefer the mutton to be cooked longer? Klein urged with a laugh. Ah, okay, Melissa salted back to her senses with a handbag and wheel in each hand. She rushed in the room quickly. When the lid of the saucepan was uncovered, a sudden blast of steam appeared before Klein's eyes. 2 pieces of rye bread were already placed to the side of the mutton and tender peas, allowing them to absorb the fragrance and heat to become soft. Damn. I want some. I seriously want some, dude. Everyone will have potatoes, including me. Ah, exactly. By the time Melissa had packed her items, washed her hands and face, returned the plate of stewed mutton with tender peas, potatoes, carrots, and onions was already placed on the table. 2 pieces of rye bread, colored by a light dip into the gravy, were on their plates. Come on, try it. Klein pointed the wooden fork and spoon next to the plate. Melissa was still a little confused. She didn't refuse. She picked up a potato with her fork, put it into her mouth, and bit it lightly. The taste of starchy potato and gravy fragrance flooded her mouth. Her saliva secretion went crazy as she gobbled down the potato in a few mouthfuls. Tried the mutton, Klein gestured at the plate with his chin. He had tasted just now and thought it was barely at a passing standard, but it was enough for a girl who was inexperienced with the world had to offer. After all, she only ate meat occasionally. Melissa's eyes were filled with anticipation, and she carefully forked some mutton. It was very tender, and soon as it entered the mouth, nearly melted. The fragrance of the meat exploded in her mouth, filling it with delicious meat juices. Damn, I want some now. I'm actually drooling, dude. It was an unprecedented feeling that made Melissa unable to stop eating. By the time she realized that she had already eaten several pieces of the mutton. Klein, this was supposed to be prepared for you. Melissa blushed and stammered. I'd nibbled some of the food just now. It's the privilege of being a cook, Klein smiled and soothed her sister. He picked up the fork and spoon. At times he would eat a piece of meat and sometimes he would stuff his mouth full of peas. At other times, he would put down the utensils, break off a piece of rye bread, and dip it in gravy. Melissa relaxed and was immersed in delicacy again, by Klein's normal behavior. It's really delicious. It doesn't seem like you were doing it for the first time. Melissa looked at the empty dish and praised him with all her heart. Even the gravy was finished. She's like, just a little bit. Doesn't seem like your first time. Even though she's glazing the meat. Melissa is so cute when she acts her age. It's a long way from Welch's chef. When I'm rich, I'll take you and Benson out to the restaurant and have a better meal. Klein said. He was beginning to look forward to it himself. Are we gonna see Melissa and Benson going to the restaurant maybe? Also, I'm calling it right now. And this has so many more moments with Melissa and Benson. And when we have that ending scene from the donghua where Klein was saying goodbye to his siblings, I'm gonna fucking cry my eyes out. I'm calling it right now, by the way. Your interview, burp. Melissa did not finish her words because she only let out a sound of contentment involuntarily. She put her hand over her mouth in a hurry and looked embarrassed. Default what did I say out of context? She put her hand over her mouth in a hurry and looked embarrassed. The fault is with stewed mutton with tender pieces now. It was just too delicious. Klein laughed secretly and decided to not make fun of his sister. He pointed to the plate and said, "This is your mission." All right, Melissa stood up immediately, took the pass in and rushed out the door. When she came back, she opened the cupboard to check the condiment box and other items as per normal. Did you just use them? Melissa was surprised and turned to Klein, holding the black pepper bottle and lard can. Klein shrugged his shoulders and laughed. Just a little. It's the price of delicacy. I ain't dying until this is the final movie of all the mysteries. I'm gonna be 34 years old, 35 years old, by the way, when the final season airs. I'm just saying. How old are you guys gonna be in 2035? Melissa's eyes twinkled, the expression changing for a few moments before she finally said, "Let me cook in the future." Let me cook in the future. You have to hurry and prepare for the interview. You have to think about your job. Let's fucking go! The cooking chapter that people were talking about. I love this. I seriously love this, dude. I love these slice of life moments. 37? Oh, you're older than me. Younger than you, older than the current me? Yeah, funny. Secretly doxing, I'll be 30. Nice. This was just my excuse to ask your guys' age, by the way. By the way, we are really close to reaching 7,000 subscribers. If all the lurkers subscribe, we might reach it today, by the way. I'll be 39. Oh. Is anyone gonna be over 40? Anyway, awesome chapter. This is the cooking chapter some people are talking about. I think Onion News talked about it as well. There's a whole chapter to client cooking. Obviously, we was using like recipes from back home, from China, and techniques like that. And it turned out good. And also, I do want to cook this recipe on stream. Someday we will do that, okay? So keep reminding me. Don't let me make empty promises, you know what I mean? What's up, Yasmins? Lord of the Unks. Anyway, yeah, I mean, Melissa is cute too. Chapter 12, let's go. What are we doing? 1 second. We are at 6,934 subscribers. We need 66 more today. Can we do it? There's an art for this. Let me find it. Okay, send me to Discord. After this, we're gonna look at art from the manhua and stuff. And next stream, I think it's on Sunday. But if it's before, I'll let you know. And we'll do like 15 chapters on Sunday. I plan on streaming like 8 hours or something on Sunday. Because I know some people can't make it on weekdays. Let's go, Chin. Thank you for the subscription. Is that over at Twitch? Thank you so much, dude. Or is that on YouTube? I'm not sure. Thank you. Let's go. Let's read chapter 12. Here again. Oh, it's on YouTube. Thank you. Melissa, can you not rub it in? Klein muttered inwardly. He felt a dropping pain in his head. The amount of content Klein had forgotten wasn't considered a lot, but neither was it negligible. I hate that word. I can never say it correctly. The interview was in 2 days, so how could he find the time to make up for it? Furthermore, he was more involved in such strange paranormal activity, so how would it be possible that he would be in the mood to revise? Klein gave his sister a perfunctory response and began putting on the appearance of studying. Melissa moved a chair over to sit beside him. With light shining from the gas lamp, she began working on her assignments. The atmosphere was serene. When it was almost 11 o'clock, the siblings bade each other good night and went to bed. This is 69 viewers. We have been on 69 viewers all day, by the way. How can you guys keep it so perfectly at 69? Oh shit, okay. Holding on the door, Roos Klein from his streams. He peered out of the window to see the first glimmer of dawn. In a daze, he flipped over and sat up. Who is it? Look at the time now. Why didn't Melissa wake me up? It's me, Don Smith. It's me, Don Smith. A man with a deep voice outside the door replied. Don Smith? I don't know him. Klein got off his bed and shook. Okay, here we go, guys. Klein got off his bed and shook his head as he walked towards the door. He opened the door to see the great-eyed police inspector whom he had met the day before standing in front of him. Alarmed, Klein asked, "Is there something wrong?" The policeman replied with a stern look. "They found the carriage driver. He testified that you had gone to Mr. Welch on 27th, the day when Mr. Welch and Miss Naya died. Furthermore, Mr. Welch was the one who paid for your transportation fees." Klein didn't know about that, right? Klein forgot. Klein was startled. He did not feel a twinge of fear or guilt that one would expect from having his lies exposed. It was because he was not even lying. In fact, he was surprised by the evidence provided by Don Smith. So it actually did happen, right? On 27th of June, the former Klein had indeed gone to Mr. Welch's place on the night that he returned. He killed himself the exact same ways Welch and Naya did. Klein gave a forced smile and said, "This is insufficient evidence. It does not directly prove that I am associated with the death of Welch and Naya." Oh, Klein is saying that it's kind of sus though. It's like, actually, this is insufficient evidence. Honestly speaking, I'm also very curious about the whole incident. I want to know what actually happened to my two poor friends. But I really can't remember. In fact, I have almost completely forgotten what I had done on 27th. You may find it hard to believe, but I fully relied on the diaries I had written to roughly make a guess that I gone to Welch's place on 27th. "You sure have a great mental fortitude," Don Smith said while nodding. He showed not a trace of anger, nor was he smiling. "You should be able to hear my sincerity." Klein looked him straight in the eye and said, "I'm telling the truth, of course, only part of it." Dude, because Klein is so confident it's gonna work out, dude. Klein lost memory? Yeah, he did. He didn't remember. He didn't knew that. Yeah, exactly. Don Smith did not give an immediate response. He swept his glance across the room before saying slowly, "Mr. Welch lost a revolver. I guess I should be able to find it here, right, Mr. Klein?" Oh my god, and Klein is gonna be like, "Yep, here it is." Indeed, Klein finally understood where the revolver had come from. A thought flashed in his mind and he came to the final verdict in an instant. He raised his hands halfway and retreated, leaving a path open. Then he signaled at the bunk bed with his chin. Behind the bedboard. He did not specifically mention that it was the bottom deck, as no one will normally hide things at the back of the bedboard, an upper deck. That'll be too obvious for Quest to notice a glance. Damn, these little details, guys. These little details are so cool. I love it. Don Smith did not move forward. The corners of his mouth twitched as he asked, "Nothing to add on?" Without hesitation, Klein replied, "There he is. Yesterday, when I woke up in the middle of the night, I realized I was laying on my desk with a revolver. Beside me, there was a bullet at the corner of the room. It was as I had committed suicide, but due to the lack of experience of never having used a gun, or maybe I was too scared to at the final moment. Anyway, the bullet did not achieve the desired result. My head is still in its place, and I'm alive now. And since then, I have lost some memories, including what I saw and did at Welch's place on 27th. I'm not lying, I really can't remember." For the sake of being eliminated as a subject, for the sake of getting rid of all these strange events surrounding him, Klein explained almost everything that had happened, except the transmigration and gathering. Yeah. What's up, Thunder Red? Also, Klein was carefully with his words, allowing every sentence to be amenable, such as not revealing the fact that the bullet had hit his brains, but only mentioning that it did not achieve the desired result, and it was still in its place. Okay, damn. This is good. Klein, honest here to Don. The other two statements might seem to convey the exact same ideas, but in reality they were like chalk and cheese. They were like chalk and cheese. I never heard the expression before. Don Smith listened quietly, then said, "This corresponded with what I had surmised. It also corresponds with the hidden logic of similar incidents in the past. Of course, I have no idea how you managed to survive. I'm glad you believe me. I don't know how I survived either." Klein heaved a small sigh of relief. But Don drew out the construction. "There's no use in me believing you. You are currently the prime suspect. You have to be confirmed by an expert. I'm guessing that expert is Dali. That you have indeed forgotten what you went through, or that you indeed have nothing to do with the deaths of Mr. Welch and Miss Naya." He coughed. His expression became serious. "Mr. Klein, I seek your cooperation on coming with me to the police station for the investigation. This should take roughly 2 or 3 days if it is confirmed that there are no issues with you." "The expert is here," Klein asked blankly in return. "Didn't they say it will take another 2 days?" Ooh, let's see. She came earlier than expected. Don turned sideways, signaling for Klein to leave. Okay. Allow me to leave the note, Klein requested. Benson was still away and Melissa had gone to school. He could not leave a note to inform them that he was involved in an incident associated with Welch, so they would not worry about him. Dunn nodded, barely minding. All right. Klein returned to the desk and searched for paper. He began thinking about what was about to occur. Honestly speaking, he did not wish to meet the expert. After all, he had a bigger secret. Yeah, the gathering in the grey fog. In a place where there were seven major churches under the premise that Emperor Rosell was suspected to be a transmigrator predecessor. Now, we know for sure that Rosell was a transmigrator because of the diary and everything. Like, it's 100% confirmed, right? Are there other transmigrators maybe that we don't know about yet? We're gonna find out in the future volumes. Maybe Rosell and Klein aren't the only ones. And maybe we're gonna find out through the grey fog. We'll see, right? Okay, Thunder Red, thank you for coming by. It was assassinated. I think like transmigration usually meant having to go to court and their arbitration. But without weapons, combat skills, or superpowers, he was no match for a professional policeman. What's more, a few of Dunn's subordinates were standing in the dark outside. Once they throw their guns and shoot at me, I'd be finished. Ugh, I'll take one step at a time. Klein left a note, grabbed his keys, and followed Dunn out of the room. Okay, out the room. There's something important donghua missed. Why Klein is trying to hide his transmigration because Rosell was assassinated and Klein was worried it was dangerous. True. Yeah. If they find out, they might panic and execute him, you know? But I think nobody knew about Rosell's execution. Nobody knew about Rosell's transmigration. I don't think that's the reason why he got executed, by the way, or assassinated. Along the dark aisle, the four policemen in the black and white checkered uniforms spreading the pairs and guarded them on both sides. They were very alert. Tap, tap, tap. Klein followed alongside Dunn as they went down the wooden stairs, which occasionally cracked in protest. Outside the apartment, there was four-wheeled carriage. On the side of the carriages, there was the two crossed swords and the crown police emblem. Okay. The surroundings were crowded and bustling with noise as usual. I'm guessing at this point he's already in a nightmare, right? Going up, Dunn signaled for Klein to go first. Klein was just about to step forward when an oyster seller suddenly grabbed a costumer and claimed that he was a thief. Oh. In donghua, it was a kid stealing bread, right? Both parties wrestled and triggered a response from them horses, causing great chaos. Opportunity. There was much time for Klein to think any further. He bent forward and dashed towards the crowd. Either showing or dodging, he escaped frantically towards the other end of the street. Right now, for the sake of not meeting the expert, he could only proceed by going to the pier outside the city, taking a boat down the Tussock River and escaping to the capital backland. The elevation was higher there, making it easier to hide. Let's see. I remember this scene clearly in the donghua. Of course, he could also get on steam train, go eastward to the nearest Ennamat Harbor and take the sea route to Pritz. Oh, so Pritz is a city. Harbor of Pritz was mentioned. Oh, also Pritz was... no, never mind, sorry. Pritz is the name of the ship. They named it, right? Not long after, Klein arrived at the street and made turn onto Iron Cross Street, where there were several carriages that could be hired. The pier outside the city, Klein reached out his hand and hopped onto one of the carriages. He had thought through the things clearly. Firstly, he had to mislead the police that they were coming for him. Once the carriage was suitable distance away from them, he will jump right off. No, I'm reading like 20 minutes per chapter. I'm yapping a lot about the novel, so it takes me longer to read than others, I think. He had thought through the things clearly. First, he had to mislead the police that they were coming for him. Once the garage was suitable distance away from them, he would jump right off. Alrighty, the garage driver tugged at the reins. Clap, clap, clap. The garage left the Iron Cross Street. Just as Klein was about to jump off the garage, he noticed that he had turned another road. It wasn't leading out of the city. Where are you going? Klein poured in his momentary daze. To Welch's place. Oh my god, that's scary actually. Holy shit. The Welch's place, the garage driver answered monotonously. What? Klein was at loss of words. The garage driver turned around, exposing his cold grey eyes. It was Don Smith, the grey-eyed policeman. You! Klein was flustered. Everything suddenly became a blur, as though the world spun around him when he instantly sat up. Sat up, Klein looked around confused. He noticed the crimson moon outside the window and the room being covered in a crimson veil. He reached out with a hand to his forehead. It was all moist and cold. Cold sweat, his back felt exactly the same. Damn, that's crazy. Holy shit, dude. But in the donghua, it was like crazier, right? The donghua was crazier, a lot crazier. The nightmare sequence. It was a nightmare. Klein heaved a sigh. All is well, all is well. He found it weird. He was rather clear-minded. In his dream, he was even able to think calmly. After calming down, Klein looked at his pocket watch. It was only 2 in the morning. He got out of bed quietly and planned to head to the washroom where he could wash his face and empty his burgeoning bladder. He opened the door and walked along the dark corridor under the dim moonlight. He walked lightly towards the washroom. Suddenly, he noticed a silhouette outside the window at the end of the corridor. Damn, that's crazy scary, dude. Oh my god. He noticed some silhouette outside the window. The silhouette was wearing a black trench coat that was shorter than a coat but longer than a jacket. That silhouette was partly camouflaged in darkness, bathing in a crimson moonlight. The silhouette turned around slowly, his eyes deep gray and called Don Smith. That's creepy. Oh my god, I love this. 1 second. Done. It was actually more exciting than donghua. Like, I think this is the first time when in the donghua it was actually more crazy than it has been a novel. Like, things donghua added. I'm gonna upload the previous stream on Sunday, and then it's gonna be on YouTube every like few days. So don't worry. Only the start is a little bit slow on YouTube because a little bit of a cap on Patreon because I'm doing this full time now. Anyway, yeah, I mean, first time we see. Can you hear outside construction, by the way? If you can hear it, I'm gonna close the window. First time seeing Nightmare in action. And him waking up and seeing a silhouette of Don Smith behind the window reminded me of that one chibi we had, remember? That one chibi where Don Smith was creepily behind the window, dude. That's good, you can't hear. Wow, okay, I mean, let's hit one more. I was gonna stop at chapter 12, but I think doing one more is good. Because, very weird time to pause. It is Lies of P, yeah, I never played the game, but that's a good soundtrack. donghua focuses more on theatrics, yep. Is plop the sound of a horse pooping? Klein could not help but to take a step back. Never mind. I'm sorry. For a moment he was unsure if he was awake or still in his dreams. The silhouette took off his back top hat and bowed a little as he said with a smile. Introducing myself. Nighthawk Don Smith. Oh, that's cold. That's cold. Nighthawk, one of the code names of the Church of Evernight, beyond their teams with Justice and the Hanged Man mentioned before. Yeah, like also the Mastery, Hive Mind, and the Storms as well, they mentioned. Klein suddenly realized something and exclaimed after making connection. You can control dreams. You just made me dream of that. Nighthawk Don Smith wore his black hat again, concealing his slightly high hairline. Slightly. With deep grey eyes, he said, "No, I only entered your dream and I made the necessary guidance." His voice was deep and soothing. I reverberated through the dimly lit corridor without disturbing the sweet dreams of others. In dreams, even though much of your usually suppressed emotions and various dark thoughts in you are amplified, making everything seem chaotic, absurd, and crazy. They are all rooted in reality, since reality exists. For veterans like me, everything is crystal clear compared to the conscious you. I believe the you in your dreams more. Oh, I see. Slightly, but mentioned every time. Funny. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense why in the nightmares, Dunn can keep very cool and calm, right? Because he's not feeling all the panic. This what normal human being could control his dream. If I had dreamed of something on Earth, would Don Smith have noticed? Oh, what the fuck? Glenn was petrified by what had happened in a dream, yet he quickly found it bizarre. He remembered being very much sober and rational, knowing what to say and what not to say. Imagine though, I wonder. I like Klein questioning. I'm loving Klein's inner monologue. We did not get any of that in donghua. It did not feel like dreaming at all. So Don Smith only saw what they wanted him to see. Okay, so Line's mind whirled as he gained a glimmer of understanding. This all perk that resulted from transmigration, like having a special body and soul, or was it the effects of luck enchantment ritual? So, Mr. Smith, do you believe that I really lost my memory? Klein organized his thoughts and asked in reply. Don Smith did not answer him directly. Instead, he looked at him keenly. You were actually not surprised by the course of the events? Oh, sus. I met people who would believe in the power of Beyonders, and they would rather believe that they haven't really woken up. Oh. Klein interestedly acknowledged as he said, perhaps I have always been praying, hoping that there was such power to help me. An interesting train of thought. Perhaps you survived not only because you were lucky. Don nodded expressionlessly. I can now confirm that you really lost part of your memories to the incident, especially those related to it. Now we're gonna see Dolly, right? Soon. So can I go back now? Klein heaved a long sigh of relief of his heart as he probed. Donna placed a hand in his pocket and walked slowly towards Klein, the surrounding darkness becoming tranquil and gentle. No, you still have to come with me to see the expert, he smiled politely and said. Why? Klein blurted out, then added, you don't believe in the findings from my dream? You must be joking if that expert specializes in hypnosis or mind reading and stuff. Then wouldn't my biggest secret be exposed? The consequences would be beyond imagination. I'm quite humble usually, but I'm still confident for things to your dreams. Don calmly replied, however, for important key matters, there is no harm in confirming them. Again, plus our specialities lie in different areas. Perhaps she can help you recover some of your memories. Okay, this is, yeah. I mean, if I remember from Ani News, I'm mentioning him again. I think the integration with Dali was actually back at Nighthawk headquarters, right? So it's going there now. Production in Tallinn, I'm guessing, relatable. Yep. Are you using Internet Explorer, by the way? Because I was talking about it like 10 minutes ago. No waiting for Klein to reply, his voice turned deeper. After all, you're connected to whereabouts of that Antigonus family notebook. What? Klein rose. Don stopped in front of him, locking his grey eyes on Klein's eyes, and said, at the scene of the suicide, there was not a single trace of that notebook from the fourth epoch. Well, she's dead, Naya is dead, you are only lead. A Bieber has it, right? Alright, then, Klein went silent for a moment before exhaling. A missing notebook. How is this? This is really peculiar. How did I not think about the whereabouts of that notebook from the fourth epoch? Dunn nodded slightly, walking past Klein, and said, lock in your door and come with me to Welch's apartment. The expert is waiting for us there. Oh, Welch's apartment, not Nighthawk headquarters. Okay. Klein took a silent breath. His heart was thumping wildly as he felt uneasy. He wanted to decline and even had the intention to run. However, he believed that with what happened in his dreams, Don Smith would have definitely heightened his level of guard. And with the difference in strength between normal human and Beyonder, there was little chance of success by using force. He must have a revolver with him too. He must also have had practice using the revolver. Many thoughts flashed past his mind. Eventually, Klein chose to accept reality. Alright, okay, so he's going to Welch's apartment with Thun now. Sigh, I can only take one step at a time and see how things unfold. Maybe that miraculous power in my dream will take effect again. Then let's go, Dunn said in an indifferent tone. Klein turned and followed after making 2 steps and I lay up and said, Mr. Smith, I'd like to use the bathroom first. He came out originally from the bathroom. Dunn did not stop him, instead he gave a keen look and said, no problem, Klein. Believe me, I'm far more powerful than you can imagine in the Dark Knight. Wow, what a menace, bro. What a freaking menace. When I was first reading, I related people to Justin Bieber to remember him. Really? That's funny. In the Dark Knight, Klein silently repeated this phrase. He did not make any reckless attempt to escape and honestly relieved himself. Oh, as in he actually had a piss. Okay. He then washed his face with cold water, completely calming himself down. Klein changed his outfit and closed the door to his apartment with gentle steps. Klein followed down the stairs and walked towards the building entrance. In Sun Tranquil, Don Smith opened his mouth and spoke suddenly. At the end of a dream, why did you try to escape? What were you afraid of? Ooh, good question. What is Klein gonna say? Klein immediately thought of an answer. He said, I do not remember what I did at Welch's place, nor do I remember if I was directly involved in Welch and Naya's deaths. I was afraid it was really proven to be my doing. I would rather gamble and escape again, learn, then start anew in the southern continent. Okay, interesting answer. I would have done the same if I were you, Dunn said as he pushed open the door to the building, letting in the cool midnight breeze to disperse the sweltering heat inside. He was not afraid of Klein running away as he got on the carriage. It was exactly the one Klein had dreamed of. A four-wheeled carriage drawn by a single horse and the carriage driver. There was also the police emblem, a double-crossed sword that clustered in crown carved into the side of the carriage. No Mr. Fool slandering, guys. Klein followed into the carriage. Inside there was a thick carpet laid out and the place was filled with soothing fragrance. Having sat down, he looked for a topic to probe for more information. Mr. Smith, what if, if the expert confirms that I have really forgotten a part of my memories and that there was no other evidence which points to me being the perpetrator of a victim, will this be over? In theory, yes, we will try to search for a notebook through other means. As long as it exists, it can be found, of course. Therefore, that we will have to make sure you are not cursed or have a scent of demons, and that there are no related psychological problems lingering. We must ensure that you can embrace the rest of your life peacefully and not healthily. Don Smith had a smile on his face, a rather unusual smile. Damn, okay. What does that smile look like? Like, unusual smile? Like I wonder what that unusual smile looks like. Klein got onto this point keenly and promptly inquired, in theory, he's gonna be, I think what happened in the novel from the Ani News video, I think he becomes like a civilian first in the Nighthawks, and then after some detective work on Regents, he becomes a Beyonder, I think. I really wanna regret. I regret watching Ani News. I'm sorry, Ani News. I love you, but I regret watching the cut content. Yes, only in theory. Like a guy who never smiles making a smile. Oh, Jeffrey Dahmer. Gosh. As only in theory, in this field of work, there are always twisted, unorthodox, and inexplicable things happening. Dunn looked Klein in the eye and said, their continuation or end, or not what we foresee your control at times. When you do the marathon stream, my voice will kill himself. My voice will kill me. I mean. Consider it's a canon that longer is not you have to form your memories. Yeah. For example, Klein actually felt frightened for a moment. The carriage sped through an almost empty street. Dunn took out his tobacco pipe and sniffed it. When we believe that things have come to an end with everything going back to normal, I will resurface in a terrifying, chilling way. Oh. When we believe that things have come to an end with everything going back to normal, it will resurface in a terrifying, chilling way. Oh, okay. We'll do that for volume finale, yeah. A few years ago, we handled a case regarding an evil cult. They leave sacrifices to please an evil god by making followers commit suicide. When none of the followers was chosen, his survival instinct triumphed over his foolishness, twisted beliefs, and psychedelic drugs. He secretly escaped and reported to police. Oh, the case was handed over to us. It was a very small mission since there were no beyonders in that cult. The deity they worship was actually randomly thought up by their leader merely for the sake of money and satisfaction. Humanity was lost there. Yeah, I mean, some people take advantage, like, that's not really a fictional thing. Like, some people take advantages of others to become rich. That's a really common thing, actually. You only used 2 members, coupled with that support from the police, to suppress this cult. No one was off the hook for that whistleblower. We also confirmed that he had no lingering demonic scent left on him. He was not cursed and did not suffer any mental disorders. He didn't have any personality problems or any other irregularities. Nothing. It's like later he got a descent. Oh. Later he got a descent advantage in his career. He got married to a very good wife, had a son and a daughter. His dark past seemed far away from him. The horror and bloodshed seemed to have completely vanished. He's gonna kill himself, that guy. At this point, Don Smith gave out a laugh and said, "Yet in Marsh is here despite better in good financial health and having a loving wife, adorable kids. He strangled himself to death in his own office." That's crazy. Pretty sure I also remember this from Money News, man. Anyway, I'm gonna stop mentioning Money News now. The crimson moonlight outside the carriage windows thrown upon Don Smith. I mean, I understand what Don Smith says here, by the way. I think he doesn't want that to happen to Klein, right? And this is maybe the big reason why they kept Klein also around later in the Nighthawks to, try to get the Antigonus notebook. Tiny knew subconsciously. The crimson moonlight outside the garage window shone upon Don Smith. At that instant, his seemingly self-derisive smile had Klein feel unspeakably horrified. Strangled himself to death, Klein drew in a grasp of cool air silently, as if this was a tragic end. Even if I skipped it once, it might be temporary. It depends on the person, right? Maybe that whistleblower felt immense guilt about his friends killing themselves, that he couldn't take it anymore, you know? Raise the volume a little. Do you mean the music? Of course I can. It's the last song, by the way. So let's put on another Lies of P playlist. Garage returned to silence. Even if I skipped it once, I might be temporary. Is there any way to resolve this completely? Become a beyonder to fight it? Garage returned to silence. Countless thoughts swelled in Klein's mind. Under an awkward silence, the garage traveled for a long time at high speeds. Just as Klein made up his mind to consult Don Smith for any solutions, the garage came to a halt. Wait, it's too loud. Mr. Smith, we have reached Welch's apartment. The carriage driver voice was heard. My voice? Oh. I can't hire my voice right now. My microphone on my mixer is max. Mr. Smith, we have reached Welch's apartment. The carriage driver's voice was heard. Okay. Let's go down. Don straightened out his black trench coat that reached his knees. All had been dressed beforehand. The official disguise of the expert is the most renowned spirit medium of Ava County. Dali! Let's go, Dali. Ryan supposedly suppressed his other thoughts and asked curiously, "Then what is her actual identity?" Don half turned his body and turned his head back. With his abstruse grey eyes, he said, "A true spirit medium." Let's go! I fucking love Dolly. I can't wait to see Dolly next episode or next chapter. Anyway, really unique one-on-one with Don Smith that we haven't seen in the donghua, right? I really enjoyed it, dude. Especially when you're talking about past events, like that group worshipping an evil god was actually some guy manipulating to get rich, right? Is it my Wait, is my volume actually fucked, guys? Because I can't make it higher on my end. It's gonna become distorted. Anyway, yeah, I really love that part with the past event of that guy who became a whistleblower and warning Klein that it might happen again. And the whole Don Smith and Klein sequence was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Let's look at some art, guys, from the manhwa. This is Melissa. Oh, Melissa looks a lot different. She looks younger, right? She looks like a real teenager here, right? What's that expression? Look at Klein, like a little bit like ugh. This Klein. Oh my god, this is the clown. Oh my god, that's creepy. That's actually so fucking creepy. Klein looks really cute in the manhwa, by the way. I like the donghua Melissa more. Yeah. Let's look at the watch again. Oh, the watch. Yeah, looks like this. Look at my retarded brother. Why do you say that? Klein looks super cute in the manhwa. Look at the clowns in the back. That's so creepy. Some circus performance tomorrow night. Oh, this is first time in the Grey Fog. Look at this. She should look younger because she lacks nutrition. I agree. Yeah, look at this. Oh, I like this. It's kind of like floating. You know what I mean? I wonder like how does it feel like floating through the hair, through air, like flying. Oh my god. What a fucking menace, dude. That should be someone's profile picture, by the way. This should be someone's profile picture. Oh my god. Menacing. Look at the red eyes. Aura farming. He has so much aura, doesn't he? Holy shit. Oh my god, look at this. This is how they see each other, by the way. They don't see each other clearly. In the donghua, as a viewers, we saw them clearly, but that's how they see each other. It's truly fascinating. This folk can make all my wishes come true. I can't wait for all these seats to be filled in, by the way. Holy shit. There's 22, right? One for each tarot card. Kingdom of Loan's capital, Empress Borough. Ah, okay. It's the first time seeing this neighborhood. You encounter chairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Audrey's house? Oh, Audrey's house looks more rich in the donghua, by the way. Audrey's house in the donghua looked literally like a fucking palace. Right? Oh, the mirror. Susie! Susie there. Do you see Susie? I thought Susie was more golden. Mirror, mirror, hurry, wake up. Damn, she looks beautiful. The downgrade of her actual mansion, by the way. There needs to be more space. My gosh, what happened? Wasn't a dream. Oh, she's excited when she woke up. Oh, Olger. Sir, where is this? Who are you? Address me as the fool. Damn. Olger is oh my god. Look, what are you up to? What is this place? The left side is how they see each other, like dark and only a little bit. The right side is how us viewers see them and how they actually are. That's just so cool, by the way. Huh? Oh, the glass bottle he was holding. Looks like octopuses inside there. Bam. It just appeared that he went back. Dilf? Olga is like 32 years old. What do you mean, DILF? Wait, TRILF? Oh, TILF. Yeah, true. I thought you were gonna say KILF. My bad. He's a DILF. I agree. I remember after it broke, it turned into a snowflake. Oh, this is the pirate he killed, the captain with the skull. So, skull hat, I'm guessing a little pirate captain, right? But they did lie about it to his friends. Damn, what a Chad. Olga looks majestic as fuck. He does. Holy. This is the apartment. Look how small it is. Wow, actually more light. Oh, look at the bread. That's so cute. Bread, 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 bread. Spot all the bread. Oh, him cooking. Let's fucking go, dude. I'm gonna try this recipe, dude. I'm gonna try it. Yeah, it does look malnutrition. Yeah, makes sense. I wonder even the manhua, is she gonna gain weight when she moves and when Klein becomes a beyonder, right? A single artist. Yeah, I heard that the artist was being overworked, right? See if I can overhear the formula of the spectator potion. I wonder in alternative timeline if he chose the spectator potion, dude. Is after the house moving? Is it? I don't think it is. This is the stew, right? Average looking, by the way. Average looking, by the way. You're right, he's not. Mine is so fucking hot. Oh, this bitch. Ridiculous, did you take us for fools? It's the truth. This guy is called Pitch. Oh, Don Smith. That's not a receding hairline. Okay. Do you wanna see a receding hairline? Wait, is my hairline receding? Yes or no? Is my hairline receding? It's not enough to determine whether you related to Welsh death, Naya's death. Hands up. Yours is good. Oh, thank you guys. I was afraid. Mine is better than done. Really? Wow, I actually feel better about myself. I can't wait to see Benson's art. Oh, the recipe. Oh, rye bread. There's no mutton stew art. Oh, the bread is here. Welcome to Tingen. Oh, sorry, you can't see. Oh, you can't see. Today's meal. Welcome to Tingen today, and you're surprised to find yourself a spending worker in order to quickly interrogate. It's really apparent you decide to accept this identity and set off the textile factory. You buy a lot of bread for breakfast. This is a game? This is a game, guys? From buy a loaf of bread for breakfast from a baker on the street, a simple food common in by the common people of Tingen City, but generally free of impurities. It's dry, hard, and some even have strange sour taste. It's difficult to follow straight up, but it works well with soup. However, poor people like you will probably choose often with water. Yeah. Eat another 100 million meal share experience. Is this a game? That hairline compares a good thumbnail. Yeah, true. I see someone talking about volume 2. Can you please delete it, dude? This 2. Welcome to Backland. You are surprised to find yourself sitting in a history class at Backland University, knowing nothing about this era. You pretended to listen attentively, and after class, just followed your classmate to the cafeteria. To avoid mistakes, you ordered a bowl of goulash. I love goulash. One of Backland's most common dishes. Expensive restaurants often add secret spices to stew, adding a rich aroma that hits your taste buds. But university cafeterias use a simpler approach, resulting in a pure and straightforward flavor. Delicious, your impression of the canteen has improved. That's cool. I have some more stuff here. I was running for it. by the way, people who are spoiling like that, just ban them forever. They can't watch my videos. I'm so fucking tired. In the first stream, I had Lucy and username work overtime because there were some retards in chat that were spoiling non-stop. And that seriously ruins the experience. I'm serious. Cause I wanna like read with you guys and experience this like reading with friends. And sometimes I feel like I can't look at chat because there's some retard spoiling. Anyway. The beer outside the city, 5 pence. Oh, I love this. This is, yeah. Look at Don Smith staring into my soul. Looks funny while running. That's how I run, bro. Real me do. Oh, he's actually balding. Nighthawk. This is when this is after the dream. Menacing. Who are you guys? What is this place? What I'm doing? Oh. Oh my god, dude. Look at this trip. Aura farming. At this point, it's just aura farming, guys. Oh my god. Who are you guys? What is this place? What am I doing? Damn. Okay. Klein mine. Nope, Klein is mine. Anyway, we had a long stream on Sunday. I think I'm gonna do the next stream on Sunday. We'll do like 8 to 10 hour stream, and like 6 hours of that stream will be the novel. So we're gonna try to get to chapter 30 on Sunday, hopefully, and I will see you then. Okay? I'm gonna go now. Thank you for watching. Sunday is a day where hopefully like a lot of people don't have work or school, so we can spend more time together and read together. So yeah, I'll see you then. Bye bye.